Chapter 974. How many gold coins are here? Xiaoping looked at the treasures in the treasure house and asked Corinne. Corinne glanced at it and said, "About 1 million gold coins, which is equivalent to 1 million universe dollars." 1 million? Xiaoping's eyes suddenly lit up. He didn't expect to earn 1 million universe dollars by robbing a bandit's lair. The speed of earning money was really too fast. But thinking about it carefully, this task was also extremely difficult. Just the bandit leader with sage-level strength was enough to sweep away countless Grand Master Peak cultivators. God knows how many people had come to perform the task and wanted to kill the one-eyed wolf bandit, but they all left with a grievance, unable to complete it. From this, one can imagine the difficulty of this task. Only a real evildoer-level character can complete it. Moreover, compared with a sage-level fist technique like Yang God Fist, a trifling 1 million universe dollars was really too cheap. It was simply incomparable. But no matter what, this was still a large sum of money. As the saying goes, many a little makes a mickle. With another 1 million universe dollars, he would soon become a billionaire in the universe. He would be able to become rich. But how can I take away so many treasures? Xiaoping suddenly felt a little embarrassed because this was a big treasure house, and one person couldn't take so much. Even if he had enough strength, one person only had 2 hands. How could he carry so much? Don't worry, Corinne said. In the martial arts space, there is a virtual dimensional space warehouse, which is equivalent to a storage space. As long as the owner puts these treasures in the storage space, it will be fine. It indicated that this storage space was not something that anyone could have. It required a certain degree of contribution or even a large number of gold coins to be able to successfully open it. This was a privilege. However, this account was secretly opened by the Astral Sex sect master, so it already had a lot of privileges, who knows how many times better than ordinary people. He could completely put these treasures in the account storage space and take them away at any time. He didn't need to take them back to the novice village and exchange them for gold coins with the village chief, saving a lot of trouble. So that's how it is. Xiaoping nodded. He clicked on the virtual screen and found that there was a huge virtual warehouse on his body. It was the size of 10 football fields, and he didn't know how many things it could store. It seemed that as long as he willed it, he could store the virtual items in the martial arts space into his storage space. He reckoned that if he wasn't a descendant of the astral sect, but an ordinary person, he definitely wouldn't be able to enjoy such treatment. Master, if you don't act now, these treasures will be snatched away by these children. At this time, Corinne reminded Xiaoping to pay attention to the situation. Xiaoping looked over and saw a little lowly hugging a large pile of golden necklaces. She hugged them until they were taller than her. She looked like she was drunk as she swayed. Even if she couldn't carry it, she still had to hold it. A little Shota also had a lot of gold and silver hanging all over his body. His hands, feet, neck, and even his ears had a lot of gold necklaces. His entire body was shining with a golden light. Apart from that, the other children were also moving towards the pile of treasures, continuously stuffing things like gold bars, gold necklaces, and gems into their pockets. There was even a little demon king, Lowly, who saw a lot of night pearls embedded in the wall. She started to tear down the wall, and with a pung 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 sound, the entire wall was broken into pieces, and then she started to loot the night pearls with satisfaction. They were just like little bandits, very skilled demolition workers. They brandished their small fists, and relying on their immense strength, they unceasingly dismantled the house and looted the treasures. It looked like they were planning to loot everything and plunder everything. In just a few minutes, the entire treasure house was in a mess. Not even a single hair was left. Even the bandit lair was demolished. Traces of destruction could be seen everywhere. The ground was cracked, and gravel was flying in all directions. "What are you doing?" Xiaoping was speechless. A little Lowly excitedly said, "Native brother, we are looting the spoils of war. Later, we will take the money and go back to buy delicious food and drinks, and also a lot of toys." The other children also fiercely nodded, but they didn't speak because they didn't have a place to put their pants, and a few gold bars were stuffed in their mouths, so they could only whimper. "What toys do you want to buy?" Your task is to study hard. Don't think about playing all day, understand? Xiaoping said loudly. I will help you keep these gold and silver treasures. Put them all with me for now, and I will return them to you in the future. He wanted to take away the treasures from these children. No, the group of children were very determined. They protected these treasures with their lives, as if they had seen through Xiaoping's evil intentions. Once they fell into the hands of this bad guy, there would be no share for them. How about this? This money will be our startup capital. Xiaoping's eyes turned. His first plan didn't work, so he immediately thought of another plan. In fact, this money is just a small amount. When we leave the novice village, that is when we will really start to earn big money. When that time comes, I will take you to eliminate the bandit leaders and take all their treasures back for ourselves. That is the real big business. He said that he wanted to leave the novice village with a group of children to do big business. Big business? Yes, native brother is right. The bandits in the novice village are too poor. The bandits outside of the novice village are the ones with money. We should rob them. That's right. If we're going to rob, we should rob the rich. Robbing the poor won't earn much. The group of boys and Lolas felt that what Xiaoping said was very reasonable. As compared to the bandits outside of the novice village, the bandits in the novice village were really too poor. But we are temporarily unable to leave the novice village. The Lolita, Yi Jiajia, blinked her eyes. Xiaoping immediately said, Then all of you should hurry up and break through to the Purple Mansion realm and leave the novice village. That way, we can go out together and proclaim ourselves as kings, tyrannical tyrants, and tyrannical tyrants. That's right, we have to hurry up and break through to the Purple Mansion realm and leave the novice village. There isn't much fun in the novice village. It is too boring. Previously, I despised the tiredness of practicing martial arts. I was always lazy, slacking, and didn't like to soak in medicinal baths. It seems like I have to work harder. As long as we are diligent, we will soon break through to the Purple Mansion realm. Native brother, once we leave the novice village, you must take us to fight the bandits and split the money. The group of brats were convinced by Xiaoping. They all felt that after leaving the novice village, they would have a bright future. If they followed this native, they would definitely have a bright future. They looked at Xiaoping with eager eyes. Chapter 975. Whiz. With a wave of his hand, Xiaoping immediately collected all the gold, silver, and jewelry on the ground and put them in the storage space. There was nothing valuable left on the ground. It was empty. But they didn't plan to leave the village yet, because it was getting late, so they stayed here to rest for the night and returned to the novice village early tomorrow morning. The group of children were tired, so they lay down in the room that used to be abandoned and fell asleep. However, Xiaoping chose to leave the room and came to an open space outside. He was in high spirits. Even if he didn't sleep for 10 days and 10 nights, he would be fine. By the way, I should take advantage of this time to learn the sun god fist thoroughly. Xiaoping touched his chin. He decided to use the system to learn this saint-level fist technique to enhance his strength. Immediately, the system's voice came out. To learn the saint-level fist technique, sun god fist, you need to spend 300 million hatred points. What? Hearing this, Xiaoping was shocked. Although he knew that it was very expensive to learn a saint-level fist technique, he didn't expect that it would cost 300 million hatred points. This was simply an astronomical number. But after thinking about it carefully, he gritted his teeth and learned it. Anyway, the hatred points were not of much use here. It was the right way to use it to enhance his own strength. Otherwise, it would be waste paper. Rumble. In the next second, the system immediately deducted 300 million hatred points. At this time, he only had 330 million hatred points left. Immediately, a warm current poured into Xiaoping's mind. This is the sun god fist. Xiaoping stood where he was. He found that there was an extra figure in his mind performing this fist technique. It was majestic, surging with yang qi, showing invincible power. Such an exquisite move fascinated him. Just now, the bandit leader One-Eyed Wolf didn't even show a billionth of the power of this fist technique. Too strong. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a glimmer of light. He felt as if he had stepped into a new realm of martial arts, mastered many secrets of flame energy, and learned a peerless flame fist technique. He found that this sun god fist was not only as simple as controlling flame energy, but also able to absorb and fuse all kinds of power from unusual flames, which could make it infinitely stronger. If he could find many different flames in the world and use the yang god fist to absorb them into his body, constantly digesting, absorbing, and transforming, the flames in his body would become even more terrifying. In the end, he would refine them into the ultimate different flames and become invincible. Back then, that ancient saint had used this fist technique to search for deviant flames all over the universe and fuse them into one. That was how he became invincible. His yang energy boiled and no one could get close to him. His body trembled, and he could instantly kill any enemy that got close to him, burning their internal organs to ashes. Any killer or assassin would have a headache when facing this saint. It was almost impossible to assassinate him. It could be said that this was an evolutionary fist technique. It could grow stronger as the user became stronger. It was almost endless. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, Xiaoping had mastered the Yang God Fist. He appeared in a vast open space outside the stronghold and began to practice this peerless fist technique. Immediately, the entire flat ground was filled with his densely packed silhouettes. They were in different shapes and sizes, and they were using different fist techniques. It was as if they were resonating with heaven and earth. Abnormal. Corinne, who was staying beside Xiaoping, was speechless. He had long known that this guy was a monster and learned things very quickly. He had learned the Starbringer art in a few breaths. However, that was only the Starbringer art. Maybe his attributes and the Starbringer art were very good, and they were a match made in heaven. That was why he learned it so quickly. Who would have thought that this saint-level fist technique would also be learned in an instant? He didn't know what to think. This was the first time he had met such a monster who didn't need the guidance of a famous teacher like him. He really didn't have a sense of accomplishment as a teacher. Bang, bang, bang. As Xiaoping punched out, the yang energy surged and the heat vibrated. It was as if he had transformed into a terrifying sun, emitting a dazzling golden light. The three different flames in his body, the essence of the sun, the fire of life, and the spiritual fire of the earth, seemed to fuse with each other, slowly giving birth to a more terrifying flame. Wisps of different flames emitted from his body and fell to the ground. It was like magma falling to the ground, instantly melting a huge pit, making a sizzling sound. In just a few breaths, the area within a radius of several kilometers had changed beyond recognition. The large rocks in the surroundings had been corroded into large holes, and the small mountains in the distance had collapsed due to the fist technique. The entire mountain range had been set ablaze by raging flames. It was as if this area had turned into a flaming mountain. Moreover, it was continuously burning, causing the rocks to crackle and explode, turning into powder. This cultivation lasted for the whole night. Huff! Xiaoping took a deep breath and resonated with heaven and earth, forming a strange cycle. At this moment, there seemed to be two clusters of different flames burning in his eyes. Even the air he breathed had turned into a scorching flame. All the pores on his body emitted hot air, making him look like a man on fire. He took back his breath and swallowed the flame energy of heaven and earth. Like a whale swallowing, all of it flowed into his body, entering the depths of his Dantian's sea of qi, becoming his own. At this moment, Xiaoping felt the gang qi in his body trembling. The 108 meridians and many acupoints in his body were stirring, as if they had reached their limits and were about to break through. He seemed to be unprecedentedly powerful, and his martial arts foundation was solid. These different flames flowed in every corner of his body, constantly tempering his skin, bones, muscles, meridians, and other parts of his body. Obviously, this Yang God Fist was also a super fist technique to temper the body. As the fist technique continued to deepen, the Yang God Fist would slowly transform him into a Yang God body. At that time, even if he faced any flame power, he would not be afraid, and he could even devour and absorb it. Huh? I can also cultivate in this virtual network world? Xiaoping was shocked. He had discovered a shocking secret. He was clearly in the virtual world, but he was still in the virtual world. He was clearly in the virtual network world, but he found that as he circulated the technique, his body also seemed to be breathing and evolving, absorbing the mysterious energy between the universe and constantly changing his body. Somehow, his soul that was projected into the virtual network world had an incredible connection with his body. It could be said that Xiaoping was actually cultivating at the same time. What a mysterious virtual network world, as expected of the super network world created by the sages. Its mysteries are endless, attracting creatures from all over the universe to enter. The longer he stayed in this virtual network world, the more Xiaoping felt that this virtual network world was mysterious and great. It was not just a simple network world. It seemed to have a deep connection with the real world, and the two were inseparable. Chapter 976. A few days later, near the novice village, in a huge forest, many figures were moving. These were the mercenaries who were waiting for Xiaoping's return. There were a lot of them, more than 200 people. They were scattered around the forest like shadows. Damn, where did that bastard go to carry out his mission? Why hasn't he returned after so many days? Some people were getting impatient. Although one day in the real world was equivalent to 10 days in the virtual world, in terms of spiritual perception, the time in the virtual world was the same as the real world. There was no difference between waiting here and waiting in the real world for a few days. What's the rush? Someone sneered. No matter how much time that kid spends completing the mission, he will eventually return. If he doesn't return to the novice village, he won't be able to leave the virtual world. In the virtual world, it was not possible to go offline at any time. Only by returning to the safety of the novice village or the city could one return to the real world. Of course, there was also a very direct way, and that was to be killed by others. This way, they could be expelled. However, no one was willing to do this. After all, the damage done was too great. It could damage the soul, making it very difficult to recover. That's right. There's no need to rush. Patience is the most important thing when hunting in the wild. Waiting for a few days is nothing. In order to kill the enemy, I once waited for a full 3 months without wavering. That's right. It's only been a few days, and you're already so impatient. You're still too young. This time he completed the novice village mission. He will definitely get a lot of rewards. If we can kill this kid, maybe we can also get some benefits. This is killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Not only can we get many benefits from the families, but we can also pick up some benefits from this kid. I heard that he has a treasure on him. It seems to be called the Fire Silk Net. If we kill him, this treasure will also belong to us. There are so many benefits. Many people were discussing. They had already regarded Xiaoping as prey. No matter what, he would not be able to escape from their palms. They were just waiting to catch a turtle in a jar. Their eyes revealed a trace of cruelty. In order to complete the mission and achieve their goals, they were all villains. None of them were good people. However, only these villains who were willing to do anything for money would be willing to destroy their own cultivation and enter the novice village. Any cultivator with a bit of future would not want to do such a thing. Oomph. In the distance, a graceful figure was leaning against a big tree. It was Yi Mengyao. She glanced at the people around her and closed her beautiful eyes without saying anything. However, her breathing produced a slight rhythm, faintly resonating with heaven and earth. With her body as the center, an invisible energy wave spread out. It was as if at this moment, the area within a radius of several dozen kilometers had turned into the calm surface of a lake. Even the slightest ripple, the slightest movement in the wind, could not escape her perception. This was close to divine instinct, a unique mystic art. Therefore, she didn't need to look around. She just needed to stay where she was, meditate, and wait for Xiaoping to come. At this time, Xiaoping and a group of children returned from the bandit encampment. After a few days and a long journey, they finally approached a forest near the novice village. Seeing that they were about to return to the novice village, they were all very excited. After all, after walking for so long, They wanted to go back and have a good rest. Native brother, be careful. Suddenly, the little lowly Yi Jia stopped in her tracks. She blinked her big eyes and said, I seem to sense murderous intent everywhere in the forest. It seems that there are bad guys planning to ambush us. She had an extremely keen divine instinct and could sense a trace of murderous intent. There are bad guys ambushing us. What Jia said must be true. Jia is a genius of the elves. She is the most sensitive to murderous intent. It seems that as long as there are trees, it will become the eyes and ears of the elves. It can't be hidden at all. Could it be that there are really bad guys hiding in the forest? But why? Many children chattered. They believed in Yi Jia's words because this was a special ability of the elves. It was a large-scale perception. It was difficult for any killer to hide from them. Not to mention, Yi Jia was a genius among the elves. She had an excellent talent. It could be said that she was a once-in-a-thousand-years talent. No wind or grass could hide from her. Ambush. Xiaoping touched his chin. He immediately thought of the people who ambushed him before. They might be mercenaries sent by the big families. He had killed a group of them before, but they still did not give up. Maybe that group of people was not satisfied and sent another group of experts to deal with him. They are really lingering. It seems that if I don't teach them a lesson this time, they won't know what it means to learn a lesson. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. He decided to kill all these mercenaries to scare the monkeys. Otherwise, these flies would come to the novice village all day to cause trouble. It would be very troublesome. Thinking of this, Xiaoping immediately said, it must be the remnants of that group of bandits. We killed the bandit leader, One-Eyed Wolf, but a large group of bandits escaped. Maybe they are not satisfied and gathered the nearby bandit groups to take revenge for their leader. He immediately framed the bandits for this matter. Hearing this, the eyes of the group of children suddenly lit up. Damn little bandits, they actually want revenge. Big brother native, we must catch this group of bad guys in one fell swoop. Maybe they still have treasures on them. Let's kill them and rob them clean. The group of young boys and little Lolas were all eager to get into action. They wanted to kill all these bandits, get rid of evil for the people, and, at the same time, plunder the treasures. Don't be anxious. Xiaoping first restrained the group of mischievous children. He touched his chin, and a trace of light appeared in his eyes. He said, these bandits have a lot of people. If we go rashly, we will definitely fall into their ambush. But we can break them one by one, catch all these bandits in one fell swoop, and rob them of their treasures. He wanted to secretly ambush them. Since these bandits wanted to ambush them, then they could also ambush them and give them a taste of their own medicine. Ambush. How? The group of children blinked their eyes, very interested in Xiaoping's proposal. They felt that this was a fun game, similar to soldiers catching thieves. Chapter 977. At that moment, in a corner of the forest. Strange, there's movement. Could it be that Wu Woody is back? I'm not sure, but let's go and take a look. If it's Wu Woody, we'll be rich. Suddenly, the mercenaries guarding this place sensed that there were figures moving in the forest in front of them. Immediately, more than a dozen mercenaries perked up. They felt that they had caught a big fish. Immediately, more than a dozen of them joined forces and carefully surrounded the enemy from all directions, sealing off any gaps that the enemy could escape. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen mercenaries passed through the forest and arrived at flat ground. They were all ready to attack the enemy. However, when they saw the scene in front of them clearly, they were all stunned. The figures on the flat ground were 5 or 6 small children playing, not Wu Woody. What's going on? Why is there a group of children here? One of the mercenaries was stunned. He had thought that it was Wu Woody, the B***TCH. He did not expect a group of children to appear here. The contrast between the two sides was too great, and he was a little at a loss. Stupid. This is the novice village, a place like a kindergarten. It's not strange to have children here. The problem is that this is the wilderness. They should stay in the village. So what if it's the wilderness? Can't you let them out for a walk? But we've been watching the novice village closely. There are no signs of anyone entering or leaving. Indeed, it is a strange thing. The dozen mercenaries were confused. They did not know what was going on, but when they saw that it was a group of children, they relaxed a lot. After all, they were not enemies like Wu-Woody, so they did not need to be fully vigilant. Little friends, where did you come from? A mercenary with a scar on his face smiled kindly and asked the group of children, wanting to know where they came from. We came with the Aboriginal brother. A little Alita said angrily. Aboriginal brother? Many mercenaries were even more confused. They did not know what the little girl was talking about. Could it be a child's nickname or something else? The scar-faced mercenary continued to ask, Who is this Aboriginal brother? Where is he? It's right behind you. Little Loli pointed behind them honestly. What? The mercenaries were shocked, and their hearts skipped a beat. When they turned around, they saw a figure rushing toward them at a speed 8 times the speed of sound. A terrifying aura of fire emerged from the figure. His entire being was like a sun. It was as if even the air around him was burning up, turning him into a world of flames. All of their hair stood on end as they felt an unprecedented threat. They could feel a terrifying, killing intent from this figure that covered every cell in their bodies. Wu-Woody, a mercenary, saw the face of this figure and immediately screamed. However, this scream was also the first and last scream he would make in this place. Dong! Xiaoping threw a punch and used the Yang God fist. A dozen or so fist prints appeared in the air, and all of them landed on the mercenaries, sealing off any space to dodge. In the blink of an eye, these mercenaries had no time to defend themselves. Their entire bodies were blasted into pieces by the terrifying fist force, and they were even engulfed in flames. In just a breath's time, they turned into a white light and disappeared. Clatter! As these mercenaries were all killed, a large number of items fell from the air. These were the treasures that the mercenaries carried. Now that they were dead, they would naturally fall. This was also one of the reasons why many cultivators were afraid of dying in the virtual world. Not only would it hurt their souls, but they would also drop all their equipment and treasures upon death. The treasures that they had painstakingly accumulated over a long period of time would fall and benefit others. It was precisely because of this rule that killing between each other was very prevalent in the entire martial arts space. There were often many specialized killers who would specifically target some fat sheep and kill them to obtain a large number of treasures. It could be said that almost every cultivator walking in the wild was treading on thin ice. Without a large number of people, they would not dare to go out for fear of being ambushed by the enemy and having all their treasures taken away. This was also the novice village, a place to learn. Moreover, everyone was a child, so there were no fierce battles between them. Therefore, similar things rarely happened. Wow, so many treasures. As expected of the Bad Mountain Bandits, they have so many gold and silver treasures on them. A young boy shouted excitedly as he picked up the treasures on the ground. The other children were also very excited. They felt that they had won a battle and were like heroes, killing these evil mountain bandits and obtaining a large number of treasures. Not bad. You guys did a very good job as bait this time. Xiaoping was very satisfied. Later, if you guys act according to the plan, we will be able to catch all these evil mountain bandits in one fell swoop and make a fortune. He praised the performance of these little monsters just now, which was quite realistic and lowered the vigilance of this group of people. Then, he attacked from behind and caught the group of bandits off guard. As a result, the group of bandits were instantly killed by him when they were unprepared. Don't worry, native brother. Those mountain bandits can't escape. That's right. We will quickly kill these mountain bandits in one fell swoop. The treasures on them belong to us. Each of the children shouted excitedly, wanting to kill all these mountain bandits. They are really poor. Each of them only has treasures worth 100,000 universe dollars. Xiaoping looked at the treasures on the ground and let Corinne calculate the value. He immediately curled his lips, indicating that this group of people were simply poor ghosts. Killing one of them would only get 100,000 universe dollars worth of treasures. If that group of mercenaries heard this, they would definitely be furious. This bastard thinks that it is so easy to make money in the universe. Ordinary people fight to the death just to get food and clothing. Usually, they need to buy elixirs, tyrannical weapons, and even apprentice to a master to learn skills and buy secret books. Which one of them doesn't need money in universe dollars? Being able to have 100,000 universe dollars in savings can be considered as saving. God knows how long they have been living frugally to save up. In the universe, they can already be regarded as a well-off family. But this shameless bastard actually dared to look down on them as poor ghosts. He is really looking down on people too much. It is really true that dog meat stinks in a luxurious house, but there are frozen bones on the road. Huh, isn't this a shadow thunder bomb? Chapter 978. Underworld Lightning Bomb? What is that? Hearing the little lowly's words, Xiaoping instinctively felt that these durian-like things were not simple. I heard from my sister that this is a very terrifying weapon. Once it explodes, it can erupt with the power of endless underworld lightning, forming a chain of lightning. Once it explodes, it will pierce through the protective aura. Many cultivators could not withstand the power of the explosion and were instantly blown into nothingness. The little lowly Jia said that this was what she heard from her sister. Underworld lightning bomb. Xiaoping's eyes flickered. He reckoned that this was a terrible bomb specially used to deal with cultivators in the universe. The reason why ordinary missiles and even nuclear bombs could not kill grandmasters or king realm cultivators was because the power of the explosion could not break through the cultivator's protective aura. However, this underworld lightning bomb was different. It was specially used to break through the cultivator's protective aura. Once it exploded, the cultivator's protective aura would be useless and would be torn apart in an instant. In this way, the cultivator's body would be exposed to the powerful power of the bomb. There is absolutely no reason for him to survive. They actually have 15 of these underworld lightning bombs. It seems that they are very well prepared. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. He immediately knew that these guys must have prepared a weapon to deal with him. They knew that it was difficult to defeat him with force alone. So they thought of using various powerful artifacts or other sinister methods to plot against him and put him to death. If he had not ambushed in advance and killed this group of slayers, it was estimated that he would be the unlucky one. If 15 underworld lightning bombs exploded at the same time, even if his force was tyrannical, it was estimated that he would not be able to withstand the power of such an explosion. He would be blown to death on the spot. There was no reason for him to survive. All right, these underworld lightning bombs have fallen into my hands. It is your turn to be unlucky. Xiaoping originally thought that it would take a lot of effort to kill so many slayers. However, since he had these underworld lightning bombs, it was a lot easier to deal with them. He wanted to let this group of slayers taste the bitter fruit of their own actions. Oh no, native brother, it seems that there are a lot of bad guys surrounding us. The little lowly Jiajia's expression changed. She sensed that there were many powerful auras surrounding the surrounding forest. It seemed that the deaths of the dozen mercenaries had attracted the attention of countless mercenaries in the forest. As a result, they swarmed over and rushed over at an extremely fast speed. Xiaoping had already expected this. After all, this was the virtual world. If they died here, they would return to the real world and immediately notify the others. In this way, the news of his appearance would be exposed, and there would be no way to hide it. However, this was also within his expectations. This was a plan to alert the enemy. It's fine. Let them come. This time, I'm going to catch all these bandits in one fell swoop. You guys follow behind me and kill these bad guys. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back, indicating that this was nothing. Yes, a group of young boys and little Lolas were eager to give it a try. They did not have the slightest bit of fear. They simply wanted to see the world in chaos. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A few minutes later, the wind whistled through the forest, and more than 100 figures appeared. In an instant, they surrounded the area and arrived in front of Xiaoping and the others. They received news that Wu Wudi had appeared and killed more than a dozen of their companions. They immediately rushed over excitedly, not caring about anything else. Haha. After waiting for a few days, this kid, Wu Wudi, has finally appeared. This time, I want to see where this guy can run to. We must kill this kid. He made us wait for so long. This is a big crime." Many mercenaries laughed sinisterly. They all felt like they were about to complete their mission. As long as they could kill this kid, they would be able to earn a lot and obtain endless benefits. Wait, what's going on? Why are there so many children here? Originally, they wanted to immediately attack when they saw Xiaoping and completely kill this kid with lightning speed. However, when they arrived, they found that there were more than a dozen children besides Xiaoping. Immediately, they were in a state of confusion and did not dare to act rashly. Don't be impulsive. These children are the direct descendants of the major families. They are of noble status. If even a single hair of theirs is lost, I'm afraid we will have to bear the consequences. The group of mercenaries had ugly expressions. It was not a problem for them to kill Wu Wudi, but the problem was that they were afraid of hurting this group of children in the process of fighting. At that time, they would offend the big shots of the major families. They were afraid that they would be in trouble. Jia, didn't she go to school? Why is she here? In the distance, a graceful figure also appeared in the crowd. It was Yi Mengyao. She immediately found that her sister, Yi Jia, was also in the crowd. She was shocked. She clearly remembered that her sister should have gone to school, and it was impossible for her to enter the martial arts space. However, she quickly thought that her sister must have skipped class. Otherwise, she would not have appeared here. Despicable. Someone immediately cursed. No wonder this bastard didn't escape when he knew we were coming. It turns out that he took this group of children as hostages. He has nothing to fear. Relying on the fact that he has hostages in his hands, he is sure that we will not dare to do anything to him. He immediately saw through Xia Ping's sinister intentions. He was definitely planning to use this group of noble children as a shield to threaten them. Once they dare to make a move, these children would definitely suffer. They might even be killed by this shameless person. Although dying in the virtual world was not real death, dying once would damage one's soul. No one knew how long and how many resources it would take to make up for it. It was completely conceivable how angry the big families who regarded these children as the pearls in their palms would be when they found out about this matter. Small fries like them would definitely bear the brunt of the impact. They might even become the punching bags of these families. At that time, they could forget about money. They should think about how to save their lives. Shameless. He actually took children as hostages. Does he have any shame? Don't worry, everyone. Does he think he can threaten us like this? He must be dreaming. That's right. We must not let this shameless person succeed. Once we find a chance, we will kill this kid. Many mercenaries gritted their teeth. Their eyes were very fierce. Although they did not dare to act rashly at this time, they were all very angry and wanted to find a chance to kill Xiaoping. Boom. Chapter 979. What? These mercenaries did not expect such a sudden turn of events. A huge net immediately emerged from the ground and instantly enveloped dozens of people. Without a doubt, this was definitely a trap set up by that despicable Wu Wudi to capture all of them in one fell swoop. They did not even notice this and immediately fell into the trap. Treasured artifact. Fire's silkworm net. Someone shouted. Obviously, he recognized this treasured artifact. It was the famous Fire's silkworm net. As soon as it appeared, a terrible flame condensed on every thread. It covered the sky and covered the earth, leaving the mercenaries with almost no room to fight back. The surrounding temperature rose sharply, as if even the air had begun to burn. With every breath, they felt as if their lungs were being roasted by the scorching heat, as if they were about to be cooked. Under Xiaoping's control, the power of the fire silkworm net increased by more than several times. Damn it! Many mercenaries attacked one after another, bombarding the big net. However, it was useless. This big net was too tough. It was not something that a grandmaster could destroy. On the contrary, the more they attacked, the more the big net shrank. It moved closer to the center, as if it wanted to wrap these mercenaries who had stepped into the trap and burn them alive. No, Wu Wudi, you can't do this. Despicable and shameless guy. If you have the guts, don't use the treasure artifact. Let's fight for 300 rounds. Wu Wudi, hurry up and stop. Do you want to become enemies with us? If you dare to attack, we will not rest until one of us is dead." A group of mercenaries shouted in horror. None of them had thought of this. They thought they could easily kill this bastard. They did not expect to fall into his trap the moment they met and fall into a dead end. They all screamed in horror, tried to intimidate Xiaoping and make him stop. Burn! Xiaoping could not be bothered with the sorrowful cries of this group of homeless dogs. They dared to come and kill him. Did they think that they could coexist peacefully? Even if they did not come to find trouble with him, he would find trouble with them. Did they really think that he had no temper? Rumble, in an instant, after receiving Xiaoping's infusion of earth energy, the fire silkworm net immediately exploded. The terrifying power of the fire burned, and clusters of flames ignited in midair, staining the mercenaries. These mercenaries immediately let out shrill screams. Because the virtual world was almost a complete simulation of the real world, the sense of smell, hearing, vision, and even pain were 100% in sync with reality. When they were burned by the fire, it was as if their bones were being incinerated. Every cell in their body was burning, and every nerve in their body was aching. It was as if they had fallen into an endless flaming hell. This was an inhumane torture. A few seconds later, these people could not withstand the power of the fire and were all burned to ashes. They turned into beams of white light and were expelled from the virtual world. This trap alone had killed dozens of people, and almost a quarter of the mercenaries had disappeared. "Bastard, you actually dared to kill my brother. Let's go together and destroy this slut. I want to skin him alive and pull out his tendons. You bastard, now that you don't have the fire silkworm net, I want to see where you can jump to." The remaining mercenaries were furious when they saw this. They were burning with anger because things had happened too quickly. From the time Xiaoping started to attack until these mercenaries were burned alive, only a dozen seconds had passed. In such a short time, even if they wanted to go forward and rescue them, they would not be able to do so in time. They could only watch helplessly as their peers were burned to death and expelled from the virtual world. However, Xiaoping's actions could be said to have completely angered them. One by one, they went crazy and seemed to have lost their minds as they rushed towards Xiaoping. Some of them held a big saber like a tank, as if they were going to split Mount Hua. This was a Blade Dao Grandmaster. Some of them held a long spear. The spear radiance was like lightning. When the spear stabbed out, it seemed as if it was about to tear the sky apart. Some of them held a giant hammer with unparalleled strength, like a prehistoric giant. When the hammer struck, it seemed as if the whole earth would collapse. These mercenaries were also considered ruthless in the universe. Each of them killed people like flies and would do anything for money. This had also created a body of ruthlessness that made them invincible. Now that they had joined forces at the same time, the power that erupted from them had reached an astonishing level. It was like a crushing torrent, and any Grandmaster Realm cultivator would be instantly turned into powder. "Go to hell." Xiaoping did not even look at them. He immediately threw the 15 shadow thunderbombs he had on him. They landed right in the middle of the crowd, instantly detonating the 15 shadow thunderbombs. "Oh no, why does this bastard have shadow thunderbombs on him? This is too despicable. How dare he use shadow thunderbombs? Where is the spirit of a warrior? Hurry up and dodge. This shadow thunderbomb is too powerful. We can't fight it head on." Many menacing mercenaries saw the shadow thunderbombs being thrown at them. They were so scared that their faces turned green. They immediately turned from ferocious lions into panicked rabbits and quickly fled into the distance. There was no other way. The power of the shadow thunderbomb was too terrifying. It specialized in breaking through the protective upstanding chi and killing the enemy invisibly. It was not something that a Grandmaster Realm cultivator could withstand. Those who dared to stand in the center of the explosion would only end up dead. There was no hope of survival. However, it was too late. No matter how fast they ran, how could they outrun the speed of the bomb explosion? Rumble, the 15 shadow thunderbombs exploded at the same time. In an instant, there were countless silver thunderbolts in the air. They were like thunder snakes, dancing wildly and spreading in all directions. The power of such an explosion was simply earth-shattering. There seemed to be only the silver light left between heaven and earth. It was extremely dazzling. A mushroom cloud rose into the air. In just an instant, the protective upstanding chi on these mercenaries was torn to pieces like paper. It could not withstand the explosive power of the Shadow Thunderbomb at all. Ah! Many mercenaries let out shrill screams. Their bodies were torn apart in an instant and exploded into pieces. They soon died and were expelled out of the virtual world. Huge craters with a diameter of tens of meters appeared on the ground. Soil flew everywhere, and trees in the distance were charred by the electricity. Huge rocks were also blown to smithereens, and the area was char-black. The scene was very messy. This explosion alone sent almost 100 people to hell. Only a quarter of the mercenaries were left at the scene. In other words, 3/4 of the mercenaries were killed by Xia Ping in the trap and the explosion just now. Crash. Chapter 980. Not bad. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He had wanted to test the power of the Shadow Lightning Bomb, but he did not expect it to produce an unexpected result. It killed a large number of enemies in an instant. It was the mercenaries' fault for not being vigilant. They did not know that Xia Ping had a treasure like the Shadow Lightning Bomb, so they swarmed over and gathered together. The result was obvious. The power of the Shadow Lightning Bomb was fully displayed. The mercenaries in the center of the explosion died immediately. They did not even have time to struggle before they were killed on the spot. Damn it, this guy actually has a Shadow Lightning Bomb? Where did he find it? Seeing a group of companions die, a mercenary's face turned extremely gloomy. Another mercenary shouted angrily, "Who cares? If he dares to use it, we will use it too. Immediately attack and blow this bastard up." He wanted to take revenge for his companions who had been killed. Although the Shadow Lightning Bomb was very precious and expensive, they also had it on them. No, there is a group of children there. They are all descendants of big families. If we use the Shadow Lightning Bomb, we will definitely kill them. Many people immediately refused. This was because Xia Ping had many children by his side. These were all children of the great clans, treasures that they were afraid of melting in the palm of their hands. If they were killed by the Yin lightning bombs, one could imagine how angry the great clans would be. Even if they died, they could not let a single hair of theirs fall. Despicable. He actually used a group of children as a shield. He wants us to be cautious. I guess this bastard has calculated this. That's why he kept the group of children around him. His goal was to scare us. Bastard, even if we can't use the Shadow Lightning Bomb, we can still kill him with our bare hands. Yes, let's attack together and beat him half to death. After we capture him, I want him to suffer a fate worse than death. I don't want him to die so quickly in the virtual world. Many of the mercenaries gritted their teeth, their faces filled with ferocious expressions. This bastard Wu Wuti had caused them to lose all hope. They had surrounded him, but they had fallen into a deadly trap. This was simply a slap to their faces. If so many people besieged them and they still could not deal with a scammer, how many people would believe in their ability to do things in the future? Perhaps no one would ask them for help in the future. This was a fatal blow to their reputation. Wait, that kid is coming. All of a sudden, someone roared. He immediately discovered that Xia Ping, who had been waiting in place, had rushed up and was charging towards them. What? Many of the mercenaries were shocked. No one thought that this kid would dare to do such a thing. Even though more than half of their people had been killed, there were still at least a dozen of them in this place. They still had the advantage of numbers. But this brat actually dared to come here alone. He was simply audacious to the extreme. Not good. That group of children is also coming. Many mercenaries were dumbfounded. Behind Xia Ping, there were a dozen or so children. They were all very excited. The small figure was like a cannonball, bringing with it a violent storm. The surrounding air condensed into substance as it rushed over, like a violent storm descending. At this time, they suddenly remembered that this was the novice village. The strongest cultivators were at the 9th level of the supreme power realm. There was no one who had reached the Purple Mansion realm. Although these children were young, they were all little monsters. They could be said to be invincible among those of the same level. Even if they had more experience than these children, They might not be able to defeat these little monsters. Bad bandits, disappear from me. The little girl, Yi Jia, shouted excitedly, waving her little fists. Her whole body was like a cub of a divine beast. Her pink fist contained dozens of tons of power, and one punch could smash a mountain. Dong! A mercenary was caught off guard. His abdomen was punched by the little girl, piercing on the spot. The terrible strength shook thousands of times. His whole body instantly exploded, and the next second, he disappeared from this virtual world. Bad bandits, your treasures are mine. A little boy with a horn on his head also shouted. His whole body was like a violent fire dragon. He directly spewed out purple flames from his mouth, which were full of destructive aura. This was a barbaric bull star. His small body contained the power of the primordial barbaric bull. At the same time, he was born with the ability to control flames. When it burst out, it was enough to destroy everything. Immediately, several bandits were hit by the flames and burned to ashes in a few breaths. Xiaodong, don't fight. These bandits are going to be killed by me. A little boy with a pair of transparent wings on his back also flew up. He was from the heavenly wing planet and was born with the ability to fly. He was known as the Sky Race and had the fastest speed in the universe. In an instant, his body flickered and the transparent wings on his back flapped. Immediately, dozens of condensed wind blades attacked, cutting a bandit into dozens of pieces in an instant. In addition, some of these little monsters used the power of ice, freezing a bandit into ice. Some used the power of thunder, summoning dozens of lightning bolts, electrocuting several bandits into charcoal. Some had a third eye. His mysterious third eye burst out with destructive light, instantly piercing a person's forehead and causing his head to explode on the spot. Damn brat. Seeing this happen, many mercenaries showed signs of anger out of humiliation. Being suppressed and beaten up like this, even a clay figurine would get angry. Although the other party was a descendant of a big family, they were all villains. They were used to being lawless. How could they bear such humiliation? Even if the other party was a child, on the battlefield, everyone was an enemy. There was no room for mercy. Anyway, this is a virtual world. If they die, they'll just be expelled. Little brat, don't blame the adults. This time, I'm just showing you the cruelty of the world in advance. Do it, don't hold back. Kill these children. Many of the mercenaries gritted their teeth. They decided not to hold back anymore and would not have any scruples. Otherwise, they would all be killed in this place. Whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, 7 or 8 mercenaries with long swords in their hands rushed over. All of them had scars on their faces, and their eyes showed cruelty. They killed people like flies. With a slash of their swords, extremely vicious sword chi erupted, wanting to cut the group of children into dozens of pieces. You want to attack them? Have you asked for my permission? At this moment, Xiaoping rushed out from behind like a god of fire, punching out. Saint Martial Arts, Sun God Fist. This punch was like the sun, emitting a brilliant golden light. Yang Qi flourished and flames boiled. It seemed to evaporate the water vapor within a 10-kilometer radius in an instant. Bang! Bang! Chapter 981. Oh! Immediately, 7 or 8 mercenaries holding long swords were sent flying by the fist force. The long swords in their hands were shattered into more than a dozen pieces by the powerful fist force, turning into a pile of scrap metal. The terrifying and scorching Gang Qi even spread to their bodies and entered their internal organs. It's so hot. The mercenaries screamed. They felt as if their bodies had entered a pool of molten lava and were being baptized by it. Every cell in their bodies was being burned by the flames. This feeling was like a vengeful ghost encountering the extreme energy of the sun. It was like meeting their natural enemy. It felt like ice and snow were melting, and even their souls were about to be burned to ashes. In a few breaths' time, their bodies turned into ashes and disappeared from the virtual world. How can he be so strong? Many mercenaries were shocked. Previously, Xiaoping had only used the power of the trap to kill a large number of strong enemies. He had not shown much of his strength. They thought that this kid only knew how to use some tricks. If he fought with real weapons, he would definitely not be a match for them, who had killed for God knows how long. However, who would have thought that Xia Ping would be able to kill 7 or 8 extremely powerful mercenaries with just one punch? He was simply sweeping through a large area and was invincible. Native Big Brother, you're so powerful. Quick, kill these despicable mountain bandits. You still want to bully us? No way. A group of children cheered and looked at Xia Ping in admiration. These mountain bandits were all very ferocious. Just now, they had almost encountered danger. Fortunately, Xia Ping had acted in time and killed these mountain bandits who tried to hurt them with one punch. They all cheered at the side. At the same time, they wanted to kill these bad mountain bandits even more. Damn it, kill this bastard first. Someone shouted with an ugly expression. He felt that it was better to kill this scourge, Xia Ping. This was because this guy was many times more threatening than the children. He was like a shark in the sea. With one leap, countless small fish and shrimp would be eaten. He was extremely ferocious. If they did not kill this kid, they would not be able to harm the other children. As the saying went, to catch the bandits, first catch the leader. This was the principle. Kill. Immediately, a middle-aged man with a trident charged over. He was 3 meters tall and looked like a god of war. With a swing of his trident, it tore through the air. It contained a tyrannical, penetrative power, as if it could pierce through a mountain. There was also a fatty who weighed 400 to 500 kilograms. When he ran, he was like a Rome mountain, shaking the heaven and earth. In his hand was a metal rake that emitted waves of cold light. Although he was fat, his movements were extremely nimble. The rake ruthlessly smashed towards Xia Ping from the sky. Dozens of frightening chi forces appeared and condensed in his substance, instantly surrounding Xia Ping's body. There was also a well-built young man with a sinister expression on his face. He wielded a spear that was over 3 meters long, and he looked like Zhang Fei himself. He strode forward with a majestic gait as he displayed a peerless spear technique. Suddenly, the sky was filled with layers of spear shadows. Each shadow of the spear contained terrifying penetrative power. It was like a god-slaying spear that could tear through any defense. The most frightening was still standing in the distance. A man in green clothes held a longbow in his hand. He was like Ho-E descending from the heavens. He aimed at Xia Ping and shot an arrow from hundreds of meters away. This arrow contained his essence, chi, and spirit. It was extremely fast, and the surrounding air was not disturbed at all. This was an extremely frightening assassination arrow. In just a few breaths, more than 10 experts attacked at the same time, wanting to kill Xia Ping. Killing intent was everywhere, and Xia Ping had no chance to escape at all. Black Vortex Ripple Fist. Facing these people's attacks, a cold light flashed in Xia Ping's eyes. He immediately used the fist technique that he had just created. He took a step forward and suddenly punched. Immediately, with his fist as the center, a terrifying vortex with a diameter of dozens of meters formed. The surrounding air was crazily rotating in a clockwise direction at an extremely fast speed. Even the air within a radius of more than 10 kilometers rippled, like the calm surface of a lake being stirred by a stone. Circles of ripples spread in all directions, affecting everyone. And this terrifying vortex devoured the surrounding light, forming a black vortex. It was like a black hole that was rotating rapidly, creating an extremely frightening phenomenon. The attacks of more than 10 mercenaries bombarded the black vortex. In an instant, the black vortex devoured all the power, leaving nothing behind. Impossible! What kind of fist technique is this? Many mercenaries were shocked, and their eyes almost popped out. They found that their attacks with all their strength were useless against this black vortex. No matter how terrifying their attack power was, it was completely devoured. Even a shocking arrow that was shot from afar could not escape the power of the vortex. It was sucked into the black hole and was completely destroyed in a few breaths, leaving nothing behind. Die! Xia Ping did not waste any time talking to these mercenaries. He punched with his left fist, shook it, and exploded. Bang! Bang! In midair, there were continuous sounds of air explosions. Heavy punches containing the power of the vortex and penetrative power bombarded the bodies of the nearby mercenaries. Oh no! These mercenaries were shocked. Their hair stood on end as they felt extreme danger. Every cell in their body became alert, reminding themselves that they had encountered great danger. But how could they escape from Xiaoping's punch? It arrived in an instant, breaking through the sound barrier by 10 times and bombarded the bodies of these mercenaries. Rumble, in an instant, the protective aura of their bodies was like a piece of paper. It was penetrated by the vortex and torn into countless pieces, layer by layer, penetrating into every corner of their bodies. One by one, these mercenaries let out miserable screams. Their internal organs had been penetrated by the spiral energy and were completely destroyed. Their entire bodies exploded just like that. Soon, they disappeared from this virtual world. And you don't even think of running. Xiaoping stared at the mercenary who shot the arrow from afar. Assassins like this were the most dangerous. If they were not careful, they could be hit, so he wanted to be the first to kill them. Kuan Peng's steps. His figure flickered, and a pair of transparent wings grew on his back. The air vibrated, and he moved hundreds of meters in an instant, directly arriving near the archer. Oh no! The archer's face turned pale. He did not expect that this kid would be so fast. In the blink of an eye, he was next to him. How could he escape? Boom! Chapter 982. What? Almost all of them were killed. After Xiaoping killed the archer, there were only a few mercenaries left. Almost half of the mercenaries had been killed by Xiaoping, and more than half of the mighty crowd had disappeared. Are you kidding me? The remaining mercenaries could not help but gulp. Their bodies trembled. Previously, they had been arrogant and thought that it would be easy for them to kill Wu Wudi because they had the advantage in numbers. As long as they waited for the kid to appear, they would definitely be able to kill him. However, only a short time had passed, and the kid had used some despicable methods to make more than half of their people disappear. They had suffered heavy losses. He had even used his tyrannical strength to clean up the remaining defeated mercenaries, not giving them a chance to breathe. This method was too cruel. It's over. Is there no one who can stop this bastard? The remaining defeated mercenaries gritted their teeth and looked at Xiaoping. They were so angry that their bodies trembled. They knew that their mission was most likely over. Just now, so many of them had joined forces, but they were still no match for the kid. What was the use of the old and weak like them? Xiaoping had wanted to attack and kill all the remaining mercenaries, but suddenly his hair stood on end. A strong sense of danger spread throughout his body. His mental strength spread out, covering a radius of dozens of kilometers. He immediately sensed a green light coming from a few kilometers away. It broke through the sound barrier by 10 times. It was silent and seemed to be one with the air. It kept spinning in the air, containing an extreme, murderous aura. It was aimed at his heart and shot toward him. This was an energy arrow. There's an archer. A cold light flashed in Xiaoping's eyes. The earth energy in his body had almost reached its limit. Whoosh! His figure flashed, and he moved dozens of meters away from his original position. The arrow flashed and disappeared, shooting into the distance. In an instant, it hit a stone mountain in the distance. With a bang, the stone mountain was immediately pierced through, creating a frighteningly large hole. Gravel flew in all directions, and cracking sounds could be heard. Dozens of cracks seemed to appear on the entire mountain. Amazing! Xiaoping could feel that this hidden archer was 10 times more terrifying than the one he had just killed. If it weren't for his sharp divine sense, he would have been killed by this arrow long ago. He looked into the distance and immediately saw a graceful figure standing on a small hill several kilometers away. She held a green bow in her hand, and an arrow was nocked. Her face was covered by a black veil, and her face could not be seen clearly. However, it could be seen that the other party was a woman with an excellent figure. Her whole body was emitting a cold aura. This woman was obviously Yimeng Yao. Originally, she stayed in the crowd and wanted to observe the situation, but she didn't expect things to happen so quickly. In such a short time, Xiaoping killed a large number of mercenaries, leaving her no chance to assassinate him. But that did not matter. After all, she did not want to rely on this group of trash to deal with Wu Wuti. This time, she would personally take action and completely destroy this despicable liar to seek justice for her sister. Xiao. Die. Yi Mingyao's face was expressionless. Her clothes fluttered without any wind, and an inexplicable aura surged from her body. It was as if she had reached the realm of being one with heaven and man, becoming one with nature. The moment her essence, qi, and spirit reached a high degree of unity, she immediately attacked, shooting arrows continuously. In a few breaths, the sky was filled with arrows. There were at least 100 of them, densely packed together. These arrows were condensed from earth energy and were incomparably sharp. They sealed off almost every space Xia Ping had to dodge. What was even more terrifying was that these arrows had locked onto Xia Ping's aura. Like tracking arrows, they could move freely in the air, twisting and turning. They were extremely mysterious and vicious. So powerful. This woman is definitely a godly archer. Could it be a godly archer from the elven race? It's said that their use of bows and arrows has reached the acme of perfection. Sage-level archers can even shoot down powerful enemies across a star field. A random arrow from them can blow up a space battleship. Yes, I have also heard of the power of the elves' archers. They are known as the assassins of the universe. Once you encounter them, as long as the other party keeps a distance, you will definitely die. The longbow in that woman's hand is also not simple. It must be a treasured weapon. The remaining mercenaries were well informed. They could all see that the strength of this archer was extraordinary. It was not something that the previous mercenaries could compare with. This was a true monster-level expert. Moreover, the other party was also holding a treasured weapon, which increased her attack power by several times. Dark North Body Protection Technique. Feeling the threat of hundreds of arrows, Xia Ping immediately activated the Dark North Body Protection Technique. He took a step forward, and a Kuan Peng rose behind him. With his body as the center, it formed a vortex black hole, and the air shield gushed out. The Kuan Peng opened its big mouth and produced a terrifying suction force. It swallowed everything in an instant and enveloped all of the hundreds of surveillance. Bang, bang, bang. All of a sudden, these arrows were shattered into pieces by the Dark North Body Protection Technique and exploded in midair. Huh. It has such a strong, penetrating power. Xia Ping's eyes flickered. Although he activated the Dark North Body Protection Technique and shattered all the power of these arrows. However, he felt a burst of difficulty because these arrows contained a terrifying, penetrating power and specialized in breaking through the protective aura. If it wasn't for the Dark North Body Protection Technique being extremely strong, but an ordinary body protection technique, he would have been pierced by an arrow long ago, and there would be no hope of survival. What's going on? My tracking arrow was actually blocked by this damn liar. What kind of body protection technique is this? Yi Mingyao was also surprised. She was extremely confident in her own race's archery cultivation technique. Ordinary cultivators could shoot through their bodies with one arrow. Even if it was 1 against 100, she was still not afraid. As long as there was enough distance, she could shoot a lot of them. Even if the other party's movement technique was excellent, it was useless against the tracking arrow. It would automatically track the enemy's aura and constantly change the angle of flight in midair until it shot the enemy. But she didn't expect that this kid didn't have any intention of dodging at all. He directly used the body protection technique to resist it. This was a bit abnormal. It was the first time she saw someone of the same level who relied on the body protection technique to resist her tracking arrow. This made her a little surprised. She felt that this swindler did have some ability. No wonder so many mercenaries joined forces, but they were still no match for this kid. Instead, they were beaten to a pulp. Oomph. It's great to have a tortoise shell. See how I completely shoot your tortoise shell. Yi Mingyao gritted her teeth. She didn't believe that her arrows couldn't penetrate the body protection technique of this damn liar. Chapter 983. Boom! At this moment, Yi Mingyao's beautiful eyes suddenly changed. As if there was a nebula rotating, her body emitted a gray aura merging into the void. At this moment, she seemed to have transcended this space. Hidden in the invisible, the spiritual force spread out, permeating every corner of the void, spreading for dozens of kilometers. Xiao! A gray energy arrow immediately shot out. It had almost no shape and did not disturb any airflow. It was like an arrow from the sky, silent and invisible. Moreover, its speed reached an astonishing level. In a few breaths, it arrived in front of Xiaoping. What archery is this? Xiaoping's pupils shrank, and the sense of crisis in his body rose to the extreme. He felt as if he had been targeted by a king, and all his divine sense seemed to have failed. He could feel that this gray energy arrow contained an extremely terrifying penetrating power, as if it could even penetrate space. If he were to resist it head-on, even his Dark North body protection technique might not be able to withstand it. Whiz! Xiaoping immediately used the Kuan Peng step, and transparent wings grew on his back. At the critical moment, he dodged in time and moved 100 meters horizontally, just in time to avoid the arrow. With a thump, the gray energy arrow flew into the distance, piercing through more than a dozen mountains in a row without making a sound. A fist-sized hole appeared in each of the mountains. The surroundings were very smooth, as if the stones had been instantly obliterated and turned into powder. The surrounding rocks were not shattered. It could be imagined that this gray energy arrow's energy was highly condensed, and almost no trace of it leaked out. It had a strong penetrating power, which was why it could cause such terrifying lethality. This chick has some ability. Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. He could be considered to have seen a true expert in the universe. Just this archery skill alone was enough to dominate the world. You can even dodge the void shooting technique, and you're still not dead? Yi Mengyao gritted her teeth, but this is only the first arrow. I don't believe you can dodge many arrows. You dare to bully my sister. Hurry up and die. She didn't intend to give Xiaoping any chance to breathe. She wanted to shoot this liar with the power of thunder, so that she could vent the anger in her heart and take revenge. Bad bandit, don't bully the native brother. Yes, everyone together, kill this female bandit. Together. At this time, a group of children saw that Xiaoping was in danger. They also attacked from all directions, pouncing towards Yi Mengyao at an extremely fast speed. This was especially so for Yi Jiejia. She bravely volunteered with a flushed face. She waved her little fists, wanting to get rid of this female bandit. It was as if she was a heroine saving a handsome man. What? Yi Mingyao's expression changed. She didn't expect that this group of brats would cause trouble for her at such a critical moment. Immediately, her hand that was holding the bow was unable to move. After all, the people in front of her were a group of children, and they all had a good relationship with each other. She could not kill them. Most importantly, her younger sister was among them. If she made a move and hurt her precious younger sister, she would probably blame herself for the rest of her life. Bad female bandit. Surrender and obediently let yourself be captured. We won't hurt you. At most, we'll lock you up in the prison. Yi Jiejia shouted. Like an eagle, she swooped over. A female bandit. What was this stupid younger sister talking about? Who was the female bandit? Did she know that she was beating up her own sister? Yi Mingyao's face turned green. Just as she was hesitating, a group of children pounced on her. Each of them was like a small beast surrounding her. Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly, waves of tyrannical energy bombarded her body. It was immediately blocked by the green light emitted from her body, forming an absolute barrier. But even so, because she was afraid of hurting the group of children, Yi Mengyao could not fight back. She was beaten into a very sorry state. She kept retreating and dodging. There's a problem. Xiaoping's eyes flickered. He could immediately see that this masked woman was at a loss when facing the attacks of so many children. Her hands and feet were tied, as if she had a lot of scruples. He guessed that among these children, there must be her relatives. Otherwise, she would not have shown mercy. It was as if she was afraid that she would hurt the group of children even a little bit. But the group of children could not see that Yi Mengyao had a lot of scruples. They only felt very excited, thinking that they were heroes who were about to capture this cruel female bandit. Bad female bandit, I'm going to capture you and hand you over to the native brother. Jia screamed and attacked repeatedly. Dozens of green fist marks appeared in the void, condensing into a solid substance with infinite power. Stupid younger sister. Yi Mengyao was half dead with anger. How could she not know that her younger sister and the group of children must have been deceived by this despicable liar? They thought they were bandits in the virtual world and fought as if they were virtual characters. That was why they worked so hard and showed no mercy. She wanted to scream, "I'm your older sister, and you want to capture me and hand me over to this liar? What are you thinking in that little head of yours? How can you sell your sister like this?" But she did not want to reveal her identity now, in case she caused some unnecessary trouble. Wu Wudi, you despicable person. You actually let a group of children fight for you. Do you have no shame? Yi Mengyao gritted her teeth. She blamed everything on Xiaoping. If it was not for this damned liar, she would not have fallen into such a predicament. Female bandit, you have done many evil deeds and are guilty of heinous crimes. There is no need to say more. If you obediently surrender now and strive for leniency, the consequences will be very serious. Xiaoping shouted. He was very calm and composed to let this evil female bandit surrender quickly. Yes, bad female bandit. If you surrender now, I won't bully you, seeing that you look a little like my sister. Jia also nodded and hit her. She felt that she had seen this masked female bandit somewhere before, and there was an inexplicable sense of familiarity. Dream on, Wu Wudi. Today you will die without a doubt. Yi Mengyao was so angry that her whole body was trembling. This bastard was the one who complained first. He was clearly the real villain, a big liar, but he was slandering them as bandits. He was simply shameless. Her pure, kind sister had been fooled by this big liar. If she did not expose this shameless true face today and destroy him, what would happen in the future? Moreover, if she really surrendered, she did not know what kind of treatment she would receive. She could not do such a stupid thing even if she was beaten to death. Shadow Shift. Chapter 984. What? Yi Mengyao had just escaped from the group of children when she suddenly realized that Xiaoping had caught up to her. He was like a Kuan Peng, flapping his wings at extremely fast speed. Xiaoping did not hesitate. He threw a punch that contained a terrifying spiral force. Dong! The punch landed squarely on Yi Mengyao's body, but Yi Mengyao's protective divine power automatically activated. A layer of green barriers surged out, trying to block Xiaoping's fist force. There was no doubt that the green barrier's defense was extremely strong. There were runes flowing in it, as if it had merged with the power of heaven and earth. Ordinary attacks were nothing more than tickles to the green barrier. It could even absorb a portion of the attack power and reflect it. This was an extremely powerful protective skill of the elves, comparable to an indestructible body. How was this possible? Yi Mengyao was shocked. She had thought that with her protective divine power, she could easily block Wu Wudi's punch, but she soon realized that this was simply wishful thinking. From her abdomen, a terrifying spiral energy immediately came out and instantly penetrated her green barrier. Like glass, it shattered into pieces with a cracking sound. The terrifying force penetrated her body, producing an extremely strong, explosive force. It was like a missile exploding around her abdomen. Boom! Just like that. She was sent flying for 2 to 3 kilometers before smashing through a small mountain in the distance. The entire mountain suffered an extremely strong impact, and the mountain was shattered into pieces, causing the earth to tremble. With a puff, Yi Mengyao could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. But from the depths of her body, a green energy immediately surged out, devouring the chi of heaven and earth. It quickly expelled the spiral force, and the injuries on her body quickly healed. She recovered so quickly. What kind of power is this? Xiaoping's eyes flashed. He used his mental power to sense the mysterious girl's physical condition. She had suffered a lot of injuries, but after a few breaths, she had recovered to her original state. This was not an illusion, but something that really happened in front of him. Country bumpkin. Seeing Wu Wudi's shocked expression, Yi Meng Yao was very proud. This was the Fairy Clan's supreme divine art, Azure the Arch Divine Art. This was one of the supreme wood element techniques. Upon reaching great accomplishment, one would be able to cultivate the Azure the Arch physique, and one would be able to control the power of the wood element. No matter how severe one's injuries were, one would be able to recover swiftly. It could be said to be an undying body. Even though it was only at the initial success stage, it could still speed up her recovery. In addition, she was the holy maiden of the fairy clan and was a natural child of wood. She could recover her body's strength by devouring the world's vital energy and wood energy. It could be said that as long as she wasn't killed in one move, she would be able to continue fighting. Moreover, she would be able to recover from her injuries as she fought. She was practically invincible. Don't think that you can defeat me in close combat. Even if it's a battle of fists and kicks, you're still no match for me. Yi Mengyao coldly snorted. She suddenly flew out from the rubble and pounced towards Xiaoping. Unique skill, Qing Thearchus Silk Hand. Suddenly, tens of thousands of astral energy appeared in the air. These astral energy were condensed to the extreme, turning into threads like steel needles. They interweaved into a large net, covering the sky and covering the earth, and enveloping Xiaoping. Once these sharp steel wires covered Xiaoping's body, he would probably be cut into countless pieces in an instant. These steel wires contained destructive power that even titanium alloy metal couldn't withstand. They could be said to be divine weapons that could cut through iron like mud. Can't you kill me? There is no existence in this world that can't be killed. Since you're a piece of wood, then come and have a taste of the power of fire. Xiaoping was unmoved and punched the air. Saint-level fist technique, Sun God Fist. Rumble, this punch was like the arrival of the sun god. A great sun emitted endless brilliance, and waves of heat rolled. As if in an instant, the water within a radius of tens of kilometers was evaporated. With Xiaoping's body as the center, the temperature immediately rose by hundreds and thousands of degrees. Such a high temperature would instantly burn the enemy, even if they weren't close. At this moment, the dense green steel wires in the air were instantly incinerated by the terrible heat, evaporating into water vapor, turning into wisps of green smoke and disappearing from this world. What kind of fist technique is this? Yi Mengyao was shocked. She felt as if she had turned into ice and snow at this moment. It was as if she was about to be melted by this endless heat. She couldn't resist at all. Her hair, skin, flesh, and even bones all had a feeling that they were about to melt. It was as if her entire body was about to be vaporized in this world. This is definitely not an ordinary fist technique. It's a saint-level technique. Where did this damned liar come from? Yi Mingyao's face was very solemn. This fist technique could be said to be the nemesis of the elves. The terrifying power of fire was extremely effective against the power of the wood element. The opponent had the energy of destruction, while the wood element was the energy of life. It could be said that this kid was born to be the nemesis of the elves like her. She couldn't even use 70% of her strength. She felt the heat rolling around her, and the circulation of the power in her body had a feeling of stagnation. Dong! This punch came, and the flames exploded. It was as if dozens of volcanoes had erupted at the same time. The magma spread, destroying everything. The sky shook and the earth shook. It felt like the end of the world. Damn it! Yi Mengyao couldn't resist and was sent flying by this punch. Her entire body seemed to have been contaminated by this terrifying, strange flame. Every cell in her body began to burn. But at this moment, from the depths of her body, an extremely green light burst out. From the inside out, vigorous life, energy emerged. It was extremely shocking. In a few breaths, the flames on her body were extinguished. Huff! Yi Mengyao gasped for breath. Her forehead was covered in dense sweat. In order to resist this terrifying flame, she used all of her strength and stimulated her potential. Only then did she extinguish this strange flame. Otherwise, her entire body would have been burned to ashes. She stared at Xiaoping, as if she wanted to see where this liar came from. Whether it was this fist technique or the control of this terrifying flame. It wasn't something an ordinary person could do. Maybe he was the successor of some ancient orthodoxy in the universe. It was just that he had a bad character and came out to swindle people. Not a bad figure. Xiao Ping rubbed his chin and looked at the mysterious woman in front of him. He sized her up and commented. This was because Yi Mingyao had been hit by his sun god fist. Although her body had only suffered a little injury, the clothes on her body had been burned clean. At this time, in midair, she revealed her impressive figure. Crystal clear, snow-white skin, a beautiful face that could topple cities, 2 pointed ears, and a pair of beautiful amber eyes. Her entire body exuded endless charm, tempting people to commit crimes. Chapter 985. At this moment, Yi Mingyao also discovered her current appearance. In an instant, her pretty face suddenly turned red, just like a tomato. This was the first time she had appeared in front of a strange man like this. For the saintess of the elf clan, it was a great humiliation for her pure body to be exposed in front of a strange man. If word got out, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. Perhaps all the youths of the elf clan would be furious. Boom! In an instant, she activated the Azure Dharch divine art and condensed her earth energy. Immediately, the green earth energy transformed into a piece of clothing that covered her body, covering the important parts so that this bastard could no longer see. But even so, she still felt a little cold without any clothes on her body, making her feel as if she was standing in front of a man without any clothes on at all. So, what's a girl from the elf clan? Xiao Ping looked at the mysterious girl's ears with interest. He immediately knew that it was a characteristic of the elf clan. Moreover, he also realized that this girl was very familiar with someone he knew. It was obviously the little lowly Yi Jiejia, and it was an enlarged version. The mature version of Yi Jiejia had already grown up, the kind that could eat. You must be Yi Jiejia's relative. No wonder I keep feeling like I've seen you somewhere before. Xiao Ping stood with his hands behind his back and looked at Yi Mingyao. I didn't expect you to have such a hobby, taking off your clothes at the slightest disagreement. Bullshit. Who would have such a hobby? Yi Mingyao was half dead with anger. Her pretty face was red, and her eyes were filled with murderous intent. If it wasn't for this bastard, she wouldn't have fallen into such a predicament and been taken advantage of by this bastard. She couldn't wait to immediately capture this Wu-Woody and beat him up for 3 days and 3 nights. Don't deny it. Who doesn't have a hobby? Of course, your hobby is a little strange. Xiao Ping looked as if he had seen through Yi Mingyao's true colors. But this kind of thing can only be seen by me. Don't let others see it. Otherwise, you'll be a fickle woman. If you were on our planet, you'd be caught and drowned in a pig cage. Shut up. Yi Mingyao couldn't stand this bastard's big mouth any longer. She slapped with her palm, displaying a strong palm force. In the void, a solid palm print appeared with infinite power. Dong! Xiao Ping didn't even look at it. He just stood where he was and ran the Dark North body protecting art. He blocked the palm at once and was unscathed. He didn't even move a step. Just now, Yi Mingyao had been hit by his palm, and her strength had been reduced by more than half. She was far from her peak state, so even if he stood still, Yi Mingyao would not be able to hurt him at all. Damn it! Seeing that her palm was useless, Yi Mingyao was very angry. But she also knew that her strength had been reduced a lot, and there was nothing she could do to this shameless person. At the same time, she was also very angry. If she could show her true strength instead of staying in this novice village and being restricted to the level of a grandmaster, she would have smashed this bastard into countless pieces long ago. It's useless. You're no match for me. Continuing is futile. Xiao Ping rubbed his chin. Why don't we stop, have some tea, and chat? We can think about the major events of our lives in the future, such as what our children's names will be in the future and which planet they will live on in the future. He wanted to talk to Yi Mingyao about something important in life. Shut up. Who will have children with you? Don't even think about it. Yi Mingyao's pretty face turned red. This bastard Wu-Woody was really shameless. They had just met, and he already wanted to have children with her. He even wanted to settle on a planet with good education. Even love at first sight would not be so fast. This is not up to you. According to the tradition of our planet, If you see a girl you like, knock her out and drag her back to your cave, then you can get married. What's done can't be undone. This is recognized by the law of the planet. You better come to my side obediently and stop struggling, Xia Ping said loudly, indicating that knocking out a girl he liked and taking her away was a legally recognized tradition. Shameless native. Yi Mengyao was half dead with anger. What kind of planet's tradition was this? He even dared to say that it was recognized by the law. Only ignorant, uncivilized primitive people would have such shameless behavior. In a civilized society, this was against the law. Sure enough, this bastard came from some indigenous planet. He came from an uncivilized society. His entire brain was made of paste, otherwise, how could he do such a thing? Boom. But at this moment, Xia Ping made his move. With lightning speed, he pounced over. The wings on his back vibrated, rolling up the air. An ordinary person would not be able to react in time. But Yi Mengyao was obviously not an ordinary person. Her divine sense was extremely sharp, and her reaction speed was lightning fast. Almost in an instant, she noticed Xia Ping's movements and reacted in time. She raised her jade-like hand, which emitted a green light, and slapped out. It contained divine power. Dong! The fist and palm collided, and instantly there was a shocking impact. The energy vibrated like dozens of volcanoes erupting or meteorites hitting the earth. The surrounding small mountains were shaken to the point of collapse, and gravel flew in all directions. Trees were uprooted and thrown into the air, exploding in a fine powder in midair. Damn it! Yi Mengyao gritted her teeth. She was sent flying by this force, and she retreated 2 to 3 kilometers. At the same time, this guy's punches and kicks contained terrifying, strange flames, burning every corner of her body. In just a few breaths, a part of her earth energy was burnt. The clothes that were originally formed from earth energy were now more than half destroyed, revealing her flawless white body. What a beast! Yi Mingyao's pretty face was red. Any woman who fought with this bastard would have to worry about losing their innocence. If this continued, she might really fall into the hands of this native. Once she fell into the hands of this native, she did not dare to believe what would happen to her. Maybe the rice would really be cooked. Even though this was a virtual world and not the real world, the feeling was the same. Run! Yi Mengyao did not say anything else. She immediately turned around and left. She decided to temporarily retreat and regroup. Today was probably not a good day to make a move on this bastard. She had completely remembered today's events. There would always be a time when this native would be unlucky. Ultimate art, shadow shift. With a swoosh, her figure flickered. It was as if she had traveled through space. In an instant, she was more than 10 kilometers away from where she was, and in an instant, she was out of Xia Ping's range of pursuit. So fast. Xia Ping originally wanted to chase after her and capture her, but her speed was so fast that he was caught unprepared. Even if he wanted to catch up, it was too late. Chapter 986. Whoosh! Xia Ping returned to his original spot. By this time, the surrounding mercenaries had been wiped out by a group of children. All of them were sent back to their homes. Not a single one was left. Native brother, where's that female bandit? The little lowly Yi Jiejia blinked her eyes. Many children also looked at Xia Ping. Xia Ping said casually, "She escaped, but it doesn't matter. She was alone anyway. In short, we wiped out this group of bandits. It's our victory. Yes, we won. Haha, those stupid bandits were no match for us at all. At first, they had more people. I thought we would lose. I didn't expect to win. Don't you see how powerful we are? We are super experts who are invincible in the world. Jiejia, did you see how powerful I was just now? I defeated that bad bandit with one punch." The group of children was proud, feeling that they had won a battle. They were like legendary heroes who had defeated evil enemies and obtained a great victory. They felt happier than ever because they had never experienced such a situation where they were outnumbered. This game of wiping out bandits was much more fun than going to school. Oh no, a child's expression changed. My dad found out that I skipped class. He's calling me now. He found that his communicator was constantly ringing. The person calling him was clearly his dad. It's over. My mom also found out that we skipped class. How could this be? My sister also called and said that she's coming to school to teach me a lesson. Hurry up and go back. Otherwise, we'll be completely finished tonight. We'll definitely be beaten Pigu. Sorry, native brother, we have to run. Many children found that their communicators were constantly ringing with messages. It was a series of life-threatening calls. It seemed that the news of them skipping class had immediately been found out by their parents. The parents were all furious. They had learned to skip class at such a young age. If they did not immediately correct it, what would happen when they grew up? Would they learn bad things and become space pirates? Xiaoping knew that this was inevitable. The mercenaries would definitely report this matter to their employer when they left the virtual world. Then, the matter of these children skipping class would also be exposed. In order to avoid their own mistakes, these mercenaries even pushed the blame for this matter to the group of children. They said that if not for this group of children, they would have already killed Wu Wuti. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The group of children were as fast as lightning. They were flustered and immediately ran towards the novice village. They wanted to quickly go offline, or else their angry parents would teach them a lesson. In just a few breaths, they disappeared on the spot. They didn't care about the large pile of gold and silver treasures left on the ground. These were the treasures left behind by the mercenaries. We struck it rich this time. Xiaoping waved his hand and immediately stored the treasures on the ground into his storage space. He roughly estimated that these treasures alone were worth 25 million universe credits, which was a huge sum of money. In addition to the money he got from the group of children, he had 49 million universe credits on him, which was close to 50 million. Although he was still a distance away from 1 billion universe credits, there was no doubt that he was moving towards this goal step by step. If something like this happened a few more times, it wouldn't be particularly difficult to accumulate 1 billion universe dollars. There are quite a few shadow thunder bombs. This is a good one-time treasure. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He also found 50 shadow thunder bombs among these treasures. Through the previous battle, he knew that the shadow thunder bomb was a powerful one-time treasure. With such a secret treasure, it could often change the situation of the battle and give him a huge advantage. Moreover, such a treasure was very valuable. Sometimes, even money might not be able to buy it. Unfortunately, Xiaoping was unable to find any prized artifacts among the pile of treasures. He did not know if the mercenaries had deliberately chosen not to bring any prized artifacts with them, or if prized artifacts were so expensive that not everyone possessed one. Whoosh! After checking all the treasures, Xiaoping walked towards the novice village. After an hour, he returned to the novice village. At this time, the group of children had already gone offline and returned to the real world. He didn't particularly care. He went directly to the martial arts school and saw the novice village chief. He said directly, "I have eliminated the mountain bandit One-Eyed Wolf and completed the mission." The white-bearded old man stroked his grizzled beard and said, "Not bad, not bad. Thank you for your help, little friend. You've gotten rid of a great calamity for our village. The heavens really have eyes to send a young hero like you to our village. You're welcome. Where's the reward?" Xiaoping blinked his eyes. He didn't want polite words, but a reward. "Don't worry. The reward is here." The white-bearded old man waved his hand, and immediately there were 3 talismans in his hand. Xiaoping asked curiously, "What is this?" "This is a small teleportation talisman." The white-bearded old man smiled slightly. "As long as you tear a talisman, you can immediately teleport hundreds of kilometers from where you are. No one can catch your trace." "Good stuff." Xiaoping's eyes suddenly lit up. This was simply a trump card. If he encountered great danger, he could use this talisman to quickly escape, and the enemy could only watch from the side. It could be said that with this talisman, it was equivalent to having 3 lives. Although he knew that the reward of this task was very rich, he didn't expect it to be so rich. If other people knew that Xiaoping got such a precious talisman, perhaps all of them would be jealous. Corinne was also taken aback. He knew how difficult it was to get the reward of this martial arts space. Even if he completed the task, he would only get some insignificant treasures. Only by completing extremely difficult tasks would he get the appreciation of this virtual system and be rewarded with precious treasures. Well, "Little friend, if there is nothing else, please leave." The white-bearded old man ordered him to leave. Xiaoping nodded. After getting 3 small teleportation talismans, which could be called a life-saving trump card, he was also satisfied. Naturally, there was no reason to continue to stay in this place. Go back. At this time, Xiaoping once again returned to the square of the novice village and directly went offline. His spiritual consciousness suddenly returned to his original body. Immediately, the experience of 7 or 8 days in the virtual world was stuffed into his mind, including fighting experience, learning Yang God Fist, creating Black Vortex Ripple Fist, and other martial arts experience suddenly emerged in the depths of his mind. Rumble. At this moment, Xiaoping felt that his martial arts cultivation had been greatly improved. It was as if he had been greatly honed. The aura in his body resonated with heaven and earth, reaching the realm of unity of man and nature. Chapter 987. Sun God Fist. Xiaoping felt that his soul and body had merged into one, and the martial arts mystery of a Yang God Fist completely burst out in his body. The earth core spirit fire, the sun essence, and the fire of life, the 3 kinds of unusual fires, began to slowly merge under the effect of the Yang God Fist. The 3 kinds of fire spread out from all parts of his body, along his meridians, and finally reached the deepest part of his dantian, forming a strange cycle. Slowly, the 3 kinds of fire merged with each other, as if condensing into a fire seed. This fire seed seemed to be the foundation of the Sun God Fist. It was the Sun God seed, like a black hole, which could devour all the fire in the world and make it its own. It could even remove impurities and purify continuously. Whoosh! The moment the Sun God seed condensed, all 108,000 pores on Xiaoping's body emitted wisps of fire. He seemed to have turned into a huge man of fire. He sat cross-legged on the ground. The fire burned the soil and rocks, as if turning the area into magma. Bang, bang, bang. The golden crow of hell cells in the depths of Xiaoping's body also began to be refined. Majestic energy surged into every corner of his body, constantly strengthening his bones, skin, meridians, muscles, and other parts of his body. He felt that his strength seemed to have been greatly improved. A golden crow of hell formed in his dantian, roaring at the sky and forming a unique resonance with the world. So strong. Xiaoping felt that he seemed to be evolving toward the golden crow of hell. Every cell in his body was like a small volcano, able to contain a large amount of magma. Any random punch of his could explode with extreme fire energy, destroying everything like a volcanic eruption. When the fire in his body rose to the extreme, it directly rushed into the depths of his mind. A golden soul crystal was also burned by the fire, melted, and condensed into a golden liquid. This soul crystal was obtained from the soul-eating beast. Every time he leveled up, a part of the soul energy would be melted, helping him to improve his soul power. Drip, drip, drip. Immediately, the golden liquid dripped onto Xiaoping's soul, constantly nourishing it. He felt his soul power and mental strength constantly strengthening. The range of Xiaoping's spiritual power had expanded. Originally, it could only sense 20 to 30 kilometers, but after obtaining this soul crystal, a portion of it had melted, causing his soul energy to increase by leaps and bounds. All of a sudden, he was able to sense the area within a radius of 50 kilometers. Furthermore, his perception of danger was even more acute. So hungry! Very quickly, Xiaoping felt his body sending out a signal of hunger. His soul and body complemented each other. Because of the increase in his soul power, his body was extremely hungry. He needed to devour a large amount of energy to make up for the deficit. That's right, I still have a lot of spiritual liquid on me. Xiaoping had obtained a large pool of spirit liquid from the shark demon monarch. Even though he had used a lot of it previously, he still had a pile left. It was enough for him to make up for the deficit in his body. Rumble. As soon as he took out the spirit liquid, his 108,000 pores produced a terrifying suction force. He was like a whale, continuously devouring the surrounding seawater for his own use. Immediately, Xiaoping felt that there was a huge amount of energy in his body. Like a great river, it poured into his 108 meridians, rumbling. These meridians were just like a great river. The water was trembling, and the majestic energy was like a flood dragon, wantonly turning over the rivers and seas in these meridians. Dong! Dong! When these energies reached the extreme, Xiaoping's body was constantly shaking. One by one, his acupoints were crazily opened, forming lakes as if the world was being created. And these lakes contained a rapidly increasing amount of gang qi, so they would not flood because of too much water. 1, 2, 3. The speed at which Xiaoping broke through the acupoints was simply irresistible. The acupoints in his body were constantly opened, and the gang qi in his body was rapidly increasing. After an hour, 12 acupoints had been broken through in succession, and he had reached the peak of the 7th heaven of supreme power realm. One more step. Xiaoping ran the pure yang immortal technique in one go. There was an inexplicable aura in his body, and a flame vortex formed in the depths of his Dantian sea of qi, constantly rotating. Boom! At this moment, he directly drove the gang qi to break through the next acupoint at once. The 8th heaven of supreme power realm. Xiaoping immediately knew that he had been promoted to a new realm. He was suddenly enlightened, and his strength and speed were much stronger than before. He was getting closer and closer to the king realm. Is this the gate of the Purple Mansion? Xiaoping's spiritual force penetrated into the depths of the sea of consciousness. When he was at the 7th heaven of supreme power realm, he could only see it roughly, but now he could see it clearly. It was a purple gate, which seemed to be made of bronze. There were many mysterious patterns carved on it, as if they were the rules of heaven and earth, containing incredible power. It was this gate that prevented ordinary people from opening the Purple Mansion. No one knew how many supreme power masters had fallen in this place. Dong! 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 He ran his spiritual force and turned it into a huge iron hammer, smashing it hard. Suddenly, an astonishing sound burst out and kept shaking, as if he was striking a Buddhist bell. Even though the gate was shaking more violently than before, it was still as firm as a rock. It seemed that no matter what Xiaoping did, the poison could not break this mysterious gate. Still not enough? Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He felt that he was only one step away from breaking through to the Purple Mansion realm. But this step was simply like a natural chasm. Because of his deep martial arts foundation, his obstacles were stronger than ordinary martial artists. This gate was also more solid and more difficult to break. But once he succeeded, he could open up a wider Purple Mansion that could accommodate more magic power. After entering the King Realm, magic power was the real foundation of a cultivator's strength. The more magic power one possessed, the more powerful the cultivator was. Soon. If I advance to the 9th heaven of supreme power realm, perhaps I could try to break through to the King Realm and open up the Purple Mansion. Xiaoping clenched his fists, revealing a glimmer of light, showing his incomparable confidence. He sat down cross-legged, closed his eyes, and continued to absorb the energy of the spiritual liquid. He felt that his breakthrough was not over yet, and he could continue to open up a few more acupoints to strengthen the gang qi in his body. This would also be of great benefit to the next trip to the secret realm. Chapter 988. When the news of the mercenaries being wiped out came one after another, it immediately shocked the upper echelons of the major families. They cannot believe this fact. Are you kidding me? Are these mercenaries trash? 200 people, at least 200 people. You're telling me that they were all wiped out and not a single one of them was left alive. In the end, not even a single hair on that kid's head was hurt. If this isn't a joke, then what is? A family elder cursed. He felt that this group of mercenaries was simply trash. He felt that those were 200 people, 200 living people. They were a group of murderers who lived on the edge of a knife, not 200 pieces of wood. How could they be annihilated by this brat alone? Not a single one of them survived. If he had not seen with his own eyes that this group of mercenaries had been kicked out of the virtual network, he would not have believed such a thing. It was a little like the biggest joke of the year. Damn it, we gave them so much money just to deal with a scammer. They were still here bragging about how easy it was to capture them, but now they've been captured by that scammer. Did they get things the wrong way? This group of mercenaries is not very capable, but they talk big. They brag all day long. Can't they do something useful? It's too exaggerated. I think there's something wrong with this group of mercenaries. Is there a spy among them? Otherwise, they must have been bribed by that scammer in advance. Otherwise, how could more than 200 people be wiped out? Even cutting grass can't be that fast. Tell us the truth. Did you take money from that scammer, Woody? Many family elders stared at this group of mercenaries fiercely. They were filled with murderous intent. Some people suspected that these mercenaries had taken money from both sides. They were fence-sitters, planning to take advantage of both sides. That was why such an absurd thing had happened now. It made countless people's jaws drop. How could we take money? Don't try to frame us as you can. We are a group of people with professional ethics. You can insult our strength, but you can't insult our character. Some mercenaries were immediately dissatisfied. So what if we insult you? 200 of you were killed by a scammer, and you didn't even hurt a hair on that scammer's head. You're still King proud. Don't you have any shame and self-esteem as a cultivator? A family elder jumped up and pointed at their noses. He did not give this group of mercenaries any face. This is not a crime. That's right, it's not our fault. It's all your fault for not disciplining your children properly. You let your family's children enter the virtual world. In the end, they were captured by that kid and used as a shield and hostage. That's why we were so restrained. That's right. If it weren't for your family's children staying there as hostages, we would have killed him with a few punches and kicks. How would we have given him the chance to kill us? It's all your fault. If you didn't look down on your own family members and cause trouble at the critical moment, how could we have failed our mission? Many of the mercenaries felt that they had been wronged. They thought that it wasn't that the group of children had appeared for no reason, and that they had been tricked by that brat and had become his hostages. They would not restrain themselves in battle, but in a moment of carelessness, they were destroyed by that swindler, Woody. It was all the fault of these families. Don't try to shirk responsibility here. Even if we had hostages, we wouldn't have been completely wiped out like you guys. Noobs are noobs, don't deny it. A family elder sneered. A mercenary flew into a rage and was very unconvinced. You say you're invincible, but you're powerless. If you have the guts, try and see if you can defeat that Woody. I reckon you'll be destroyed before you can even get close to that kid. You can only brag here. If you really go in, you'll die faster than us. He had fought with Ping before, so he naturally knew what a terrifying enemy he was. Putting aside that kid's character and all kinds of tricks, just Woody's martial strength alone was extraordinary. It was not something that ordinary people could compare to. With so many mercenaries, it was impossible to find someone who could fight this kid one-on-one. He had mastered a saint-level martial art and was already invincible among his peers. Therefore, he did not believe that these big families would perform much better than them when dealing with that kid in the novice village. They would definitely be killed by Woody in a second. The other mercenaries nodded in agreement. Recalling what had happened just now, they were knowledgeable and naturally knew how terrifying Woody's martial strength was. That kid might really live up to his name. Both sides kept arguing and were in a stalemate. They pushed the blame onto each other. The big families naturally thought that this was the mercenaries' incompetence that caused such a result. However, many mercenaries thought that this was the fault of the big families. If the group of children had not run around and become Woody's hostages, this would definitely not have happened. In short, both sides kept arguing and arguing. In the end, a mercenary said helplessly, "In short, that kid is really not simple. He can be said to be invincible among his peers. I don't know what kind of power he has mastered. All of us combined are not his match. If we want to deal with him, we can only wait until he leaves the novice village." He expressed that no matter how much money they gave him, he would not deal with Woody in the novice village. This was not dealing with him at all, but sending him to his death. The other mercenaries had the same thought. The people from the big families all gritted their teeth. They did not expect that a small liar would make them behave like this. It was simply the greatest humiliation. However, they could not catch that kid, so they could only stare at him. At this time, Yu Mingyao also left the virtual world. She contacted many of her close friends in the group to ask about this matter. They wanted to know the outcome and whether the shameless liar was killed. I didn't kill him. Yu Mingyao was very helpless. What? Why didn't you kill him? That's right. With your strength, Mingyao, wouldn't it be easy to catch a liar? That's right. Even if he suppressed his cultivation, he should still be invincible among his peers. Don't tell me you were lenient, because you like that liar. Many of her close friends were extremely shocked. They did not understand what had happened. Yu Mingyao's pretty face turned red. Not only did she not kill that kid, but she was also almost killed by that damned liar. He even wanted to capture her and cook the rice. He wanted to ruin her innocence. Don't talk nonsense. It's not like that. Yu Mingyao felt that she could not tell the truth, even if she was beaten to death. Otherwise, she did not know what her close friends would say. She must bury this secret forever. She said that she could not defeat that kid because that shameless liar had captured her sister and used her as a shield, forcing her to be cautious and restrained. That was why such a thing had happened. Chapter 989 P03 N VR U percent M 6 Z0 R 6 T. No wonder that scammer didn't get rid of him. He took Mingyao's sister as a hostage. One of her friends suddenly understood. If that was the case, then it could be completely explained. Otherwise, how could the elf saintess, a once-in-a-thousand-years genius, Yu Mingyao, be unable to deal with that country bumpkin? It didn't make sense at all. Or damn it, that scammer is really despicable. He took a child as a hostage. How could he do such a despicable thing? He's simply a disgrace to humanity. Or Mingyao, don't worry. If I meet that Wu Wudi, I will definitely avenge you. Or this kind of person is unforgivable. If he continues like this, he will definitely become a cancer of the universe. We will definitely help you get rid of him. Or the group of friends gritted their teeth, filled with righteous indignation. They didn't expect that the scammer Wu Wudi would be so despicable. He even took Mingyao's sister as a hostage. Or they all said that if they met that Wu Wudi, they would definitely not show any mercy. Rai Mingyao felt very guilty and nodded in agreement. Fortunately, that scammer Wu Wudi couldn't possibly know her best friend. Otherwise, if what happened in the novice village was exposed, she would definitely be laughed at by her sisters. But after this incident, that bastard might not appear in the novice village for a while. Rai Mingyao guessed that after experiencing such an ambush, that kid would definitely be more vigilant. If he wanted to ambush again, it wouldn't be so easy. Or it's fine. That bastard is ambitious. After cheating so much money, he definitely won't be willing to stay in the novice village. Or sooner or later, that bastard will also leave the novice village and come to the big city. Or just wait patiently. For now, don't alert the scammer. Let that scammer relax his guard for a while. After we set up an inescapable net, that kid will have a good time. Or when he leaves the novice village, he's dead meat. Let's see how many more people he can deceive. Or although they were unwilling to admit it, it had to be said that someone who was able to swindle so much money and cause so many mercenaries to fail was quite capable. Or how could a capable person like him be willing to stay in novice village? He would leave sooner or later. Or now, as long as they waited patiently, that kid would definitely show up. Or that's the only way. Just you wait. The next time we meet, I'll catch this bastard and beat him up for 3 days and 3 nights. Yu Mingyao gritted her teeth. These words were almost squeezed out from the gaps between her teeth. After what had happened, she had almost lost her chastity. One could imagine how much she hated Wu Wudi. Without a doubt, her desire to capture Wu Wudi was stronger than anyone else's. The two of them were enemies now. /rat this time. The little lowly Yi Jia was captured by her parents and severely criticized. Jia, tell me, who led you astray? He had actually started skipping classes to play in the virtual world. Didn't he know that this was very inappropriate behavior? I'm going to punish you by not going out to play for a month. You can only stay at home. Our mother, Yu, was very angry. Not only was she angry that her youngest daughter ran out to play, but she was also fooling around with that swindler. After being cheated of so much money, she still foolishly stayed with that swindler. Did she want to be cheated again? Or why was this youngest daughter of hers so stupid? Or Mom, don't be angry. I know I was wrong. I'll study hard and practice martial arts in the future. I'll strive to catch up to big sister. Yi Jejia was very obedient, blinking her big eyes. Or really? Our mother Yi was a little confused. Her youngest daughter had never been so obedient before. Once she preached, she would definitely tear up and attack with tears to soften her heart. Or she didn't cry now, and even promised that she would study hard in the future. Our one had to know that this youngest daughter was always lazy. When she was asked to practice martial arts, she would always find excuses to be lazy and not train. She would either say that she had a headache or that her feet hurt. Or if it wasn't for her excellent talent, even if she didn't practice, she could still advance by leaps and bounds. Her martial arts cultivation would have long fallen behind other children. Or therefore, when she heard Yi Jejia say that she would be a slave in the future, she was simply stunned. Or, Jejia, did you fall somewhere and hurt your head? Let me see if there's any problem. Mother Yi subconsciously wanted to check her youngest daughter's head to see if it was broken somewhere. Or there's no problem, right? Jejia puffed up her cheeks, and her little face flushed with anger. Or is there really no problem? Our mother Yi had a doubtful look on her face. Or there's really no problem. I must break through to the Purple Palace realm as soon as possible and grow up to be an adult. Yi Jejia patted her chest and vowed, showing that she wasn't lying. Or because she wanted to leave the novice village as soon as possible and follow her native brother to exterminate bandits. She would never miss something fun like this. Or, of course, she wouldn't say such a reason out loud. Otherwise, she would definitely be beaten by her own parents. At that time, Piga would suffer. Or good, very good. It seems that Jejia has grown up and knows the importance of martial arts cultivation. If you practice hard in the future, I can meet one of your requests. Buy whatever you want. Our father Yi laughed. Looking at his youngest daughter's doting expression, he was very pleased. His youngest daughter had finally grown up and felt a little sensible. Our thank you, Dad. Rai Jejia pounced on him and said coquettishly, Our really? Our mother Yi was very distressed and helpless. It's really a good baby daughter. If I don't discipline her seriously and let her have a long memory, when she grows up in the future, she will be cheated by those scumbags. Or, in short, you must learn a lesson this time. Mother Yi looked at Yi Jejia with a serious face. The next time you skip class, I will put you in confinement for half a year. You're not allowed to go anywhere. Or got it. Rai Jejia nodded hard. Or this kind of thing also happened in many other families. Or those children all swore that they would work hard to cultivate in the future and become stronger as soon as possible. They would never slack off and not train like before. Or the parents of these families were very satisfied. Although they lost a lot of money this time, if their children were sensible and could work hard to change their lazy character, it would be worth it. Or nothing is more important than an excellent successor. This is something that can't be bought with money. Or this was also a great fortune in misfortune. Or some parents thought that perhaps it was because of this that their son became sensible. Or, Chapter 990. MR, G, Xand, FR, R, U, FS, Carrot, Ing, in the secret land. Or another night had passed, and Xiaoping finally woke up from his closed-door cultivation. After a night of hard cultivation, he had integrated the martial arts experience in the virtual world. He had also completely consolidated his martial arts cultivation at the 8th heaven of Supreme Power Realm. Revan because he had absorbed a large amount of spiritual liquid and the energy of the spiritual medicine. He had also opened 2 or 3 acupoints in one go, which made his Gang Chi cultivation stronger. Or, however, because he had absorbed a large amount of spiritual liquid, Xiaoping had consumed more than half of his spiritual liquid, spiritual medicine, and other treasures. It was estimated that they could only support him to reach the 9th heaven of Supreme Power Realm at most. If he wanted to reach the Purple Mansion realm, these spiritual medicine alone were far from enough. Or fortunately, this was a secret land where rare treasures like the 5 elements spiritual fruit grew. If he could get these spiritual fruits, it might not be difficult to reach the Purple Mansion realm. The power of the eighth heaven of supreme power realm is really extraordinary. Xiao Ping clenched his fists. He had now opened a total of 99 acupoints, each of which contained a vast amount of stellar energy. These 99 acupoints were equivalent to 99 vortexes, in which there were golden crows of hell. They were constantly absorbing the spirit chi of heaven and earth, making him stronger almost all the time. It could be said that because of the existence of these acupoints, the gang chi in his body formed a cycle, which accelerated Xiao Ping's cultivation speed. He was many times faster than ordinary cultivators. Now his strength was also a lot stronger than before. Sun God Fist. At this moment, Xiao Ping was performing the Sun God Fist in the cave. He felt as if he was immersed in the rhythm of this fist technique, and the flame chi between heaven and earth was absorbed into his body. Revan, the blood flowing in every blood vessel in his body, seemed to be integrated with the flame energy at this moment, flowing in countless blood vessels like magma. If his blood dripped on the ground now, it would be similar to magma. In an instant, a big hole would be burned out of a rock, quickly burning everything. Every single one of Xiao Ping's acupoints seemed to be inhabited by golden crows of hell, which resonated with the Empyrean energy in his Dantian region and sea of energy. These vibrations were like the thunder of tigers and leopards, constantly tempering their bodies, making them stronger. It was as if their bones and muscles were becoming denser and denser. As expected of a saint-level fist technique, its mysteries are indeed astonishing. Xiao Ping couldn't help but sigh. The more he practiced this fist technique, the more he felt that this fist technique was broad and profound. It seemed to contain the endless mysteries of the universe, and it could continuously unlock the treasures of the human body, constantly evolving. Wonder how my current strength is compared to a Purple Mansion Realm cultivator. Xiao Ping clenched his fist. He might not be comparable to a Purple Mansion Realm cultivator, but it wouldn't be easy for a regular Purple Mansion Realm cultivator to kill him instantly. It could be said that his current strength had surpassed most cultivators at the peak of the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm, and it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was a half-step King Realm cultivator. If he could be promoted to the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm, he might be able to fight against a Purple Mansion Realm cultivator. At this moment, the system's voice came out. Congratulations to the host for angering a large number of cosmic mercenaries. This time, you have gained 250 million hatred points. The current total hatred points are 580 million. I hope to continue to work hard and gain more hatred points. 250 million hatred points. Xiao Ping touched his chin. He was in a very good mood. This time, not only did he get 25 million universe coins from those mercenaries, but he also gained more than 200 million hatred points. It was really a fruitful operation. Moreover, he had also broken through his martial arts cultivation, making himself stronger. It was estimated that in this secret realm, he would be able to deal with all kinds of difficulties more easily. Our big brother. Suddenly, a voice came from outside. Who is it? Xiao Ping turned his head and called out. It's me, the Crow of Misfortune. Something big has happened outside, and I need you to come out and make a decision as soon as possible. The Crow of Misfortune shouted outside the cave entrance. Because Xiao Ping was in seclusion, he used a huge rock to seal the entrance of the cave, so it could not get in. Of course, if it used its strength, this rock would not be a problem, but it did not dare to break it, for fear of destroying Xiao Ping's seclusion and making Xiao Ping angry. The consequences would be unimaginable. Okay, I'll go out now. Xiao Ping stayed in the cave for almost a day and a night. He did not want to stay here any longer. It was just the right time to leave and move his muscles and bones. Ardong. Xiao Ping stretched out his hand, and with a light pat, the huge boulder blocking the entrance of the cave was instantly shattered into dust. The dust flowed on the ground, but the surrounding stone walls were not damaged in the slightest. When the Crow of Misfortune saw this scene, it was immediately dumbfounded. It knew how difficult it was to execute this move. It had to have reached the microscopic realm of power control to be able to do it. There was no doubt that after this day and night of cultivation, This human strength was even more terrifying. Our big brother, did you break through? The crow of misfortune asked subconsciously. Our Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back. I accidentally broke through while sleeping. He accidentally broke through. The crow of misfortune was speechless. It had never seen such a person break through while sleeping. Was there still any justice in this world? Although it had long known that this human was abnormal, it did not expect him to be this abnormal. What did he think cultivation was? Why was it easier than eating and drinking for this bastard human? Or although it was very unhappy, it had to admit that this human was really a monster. He could not compare to it. In the current situation, perhaps the stronger this human was, the more benefits it would bring them. All right, let's not talk about this. Why are you in such a hurry? What happened? Did the soldiers of the 5 major races find us and attack? Xiaoping immediately asked. Chi had been in seclusion for a day and a night. Anything could have happened. No. We were very cautious and hid in the cave. We were not discovered by the soldiers of the 5 major races. The crow of misfortune said in a deep voice. The crow of misfortune said in a low voice. But the other humans in this secret realm aren't as lucky. What do you mean? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. The crow of misfortune sighed. The soldiers of the 5 major races are simply crazy. They carried out a carpet search and sent a large number of elites. They captured anyone they saw day and night. As you can imagine, with such a high-intensity capture operation, many humans were immediately captured by them and became their captives. Chapter 991. At this moment, in a forest, many temporary wooden huts were built. The elite soldiers of the Blackwood race, the Rock Giant race, the Metal Machine race, the Drought Demon race, and the Slime race were gathered here. There were tens of thousands of them. At the back of this temporary station, there was a wooden hut that was used as a temporary prison. Many humans were locked inside, and their hands and feet were chained up by sturdy iron chains. These iron chains were extremely sturdy. They were formed from the depths of volcanoes after thousands of years of being tempered by magma. Even a grandmaster would not be able to break this kind of volcanic iron. Therefore, once one was chained up by these iron chains, it was almost impossible to escape. At this moment, these humans were also ruthlessly beaten up by the soldiers of the 5 races. They were beaten black and blue, and their faces were beyond recognition. Some of them could not even see their original appearances. It was obvious exactly how horrifying the treatment they had suffered was. Among them were Wu Quan, LV Shan, Ren Haodong, and the others. Almost all the humans who entered this secret realm to participate in the trial were captured. Those who were not captured were killed in the process of resisting. Let me tell you, lowly humans, you better behave. A captain of the Blackwood race looked down and stared fiercely at Wu Quan and the others. If it wasn't for the fact that you guys still have some use, I would have killed you scourges long ago. You actually dared to kill so many of my Blackwood race's brothers. Even if you die 10,000 times, you won't be able to make up for this sin. His eyes revealed a cruel glint and a murderous aura. Sir, Wu Quan shivered and begged for mercy. This matter actually has nothing to do with us. It's all that bitch Xiaoping's fault. That bastard killed your brothers from the same race. We were just passing by and did nothing wrong. As the saying goes, every debt has a debtor. If you want to take revenge, you should look for that bitch Xiaoping. It's useless to vent your anger on innocent humans like us. He felt that these demons were purely venting their anger on the wrong person. He hoped that these demons would have a merciful heart and let these innocent humans go. Bullshit. The captain of the Blackwood race cursed. You're still putting on an act here. Who doesn't know that you're in cahoots with that human Xiaoping? You're all brothers of the same race. How dare you say that this matter has nothing to do with you? What he has done is what you have done. The greater the sins he has committed, the greater the sins you have committed. You still want to find an excuse to avoid responsibility? You are delusional. In short, if we can't find that human Xiaoping, then we'll get rid of all of you human trash. We'll kill the chicken to scare the monkey, and we'll hold a memorial ceremony for our fallen brothers. Its body was filled with a terrifying, murderous aura, cold and merciless. Damn monster! Wu Quan and the others felt extremely aggrieved in their hearts. This was purely an unexpected calamity. They'd been walking through the secret realm without rhyme or reason, with the hope of finding the secret realm's secrets and the shortcut to advance into the king realm. Who would have thought that disaster would befall them from the sky? The soldiers of the 5 major races conducted a carpet search everywhere, not leaving even a strand of hair behind. It was obvious that these unprepared human masters were instantly surrounded by the elite soldiers of the 5 major races, and they couldn't even escape. Only later did they find out that the bastard Xia Ping didn't just survive the encirclement of so many Blackwood Ray soldiers. He even killed a group of them. After escaping, this bastard even displayed his invincible might and annihilated a bunch of rock giants, drought demons, and other elite soldiers, forming a blood feud with the 5 major races. This caused their patriarch to be furious, and he swore to eliminate this scourge. In the end, they were implicated, and they were taken to be Xia Ping's accomplices. All of them were captured, and not a single one was spared. Now, tell me the truth. Where exactly is that Xia Ping hiding? If you tell me now, you can avoid being tortured, and you can even make up for your crimes with meritorious deeds. You can avoid death. If you don't tell me, then you'll suffer. A nearby drought demon captain stared at the group of captives with a gloomy expression. Xia Ping had killed a group of drought demons earlier, and some of his relatives were among them. Therefore, he hated Xia Ping the most, so he volunteered to investigate and interrogate these humans for information. I don't know. We also want to know where that bastard Xia Ping is. LV Shan said sullenly. If he knew where that bastard Xia Ping was, he would go up and bite him to death. That bastard came to this trial's secret realm. He clearly knew that this place was full of danger, and it wasn't the human world, but he still kept a low profile to avoid a huge conflict. But this kid was good. He caused trouble every day, and as soon as he came to this place, he caused big trouble. Just because he had a bit of strength, he offended others to death. If that bastard died, then so be it. They couldn't blame others, and they would even secretly celebrate, feeling that their ears and eyes were clear. But this guy was so tough, and he was still alive and kicking. Now, because of this kid causing trouble everywhere, he had made trouble for them, causing them to become captives of the 5 major races and suffer all kinds of torture. Don't play dumb. The captain of the Drought Ho tribe shouted angrily. You are in cahoots with Xia Ping. You are all humans, and you came to participate in the trial together. How can you not know where Xia Ping is? Speak. Do you want to protect that human Xia Ping? He was burning with anger. He felt very angry. They had clearly captured this group of humans, but they still dared to resist stubbornly. They didn't understand the situation, and even now, they still wanted to protect the human Xia Ping. How hateful. That must be it. They definitely want to protect that human Xia Ping. Even at this time, you still want to protect your brothers of the same race. It seems that the friendship between you guys is very deep. If we don't use some torture and some tricks, these lowly humans won't know how powerful we are. Teach them a lesson. Otherwise, we'll destroy their cultivation and make them completely useless. The surrounding soldiers of the 5 major races all sneered. They felt that they had to make these humans suffer a little. Otherwise, they wouldn't tell the truth and reveal Xia Ping's whereabouts. Protect my ass. The faces of Wu Quan and the others turned green. They simply wanted to kill Xia Ping immediately. How could they protect this shameless bastard? Even if they were beaten to death, they wouldn't be able to do something like this. To be honest, in order to use Xia Ping and the others as shields and send Xia Ping to his death, they had long gone their separate ways. How could they know where that bastard Xia Ping was? Therefore, what they said was all true. They didn't mean to hide it. Now, the 5 major races were simply making things difficult for them. Chapter 992. You still dare to play dumb? Do you think we're fools? These humans won't give up until they see the coffin. Don't talk nonsense with them. Beat them up first. Yes, beat them up and they'll be obedient. The elite soldiers of the 5 races sneered. They didn't believe anything these humans said. They were clearly from the same batch of people who had come to the trial. How could they say they didn't know where Xia Ping was? If this wasn't a lie, what else could it be? Without hesitation, they immediately attacked, punching and kicking Wu Quan and the others. Some of the monsters looked ferocious. They even used all kinds of cruel torture. They beat them until their faces were swollen and they were on the verge of death. Even though Wu Quan and the others had the physique of a master, they couldn't bear it. After such a beating, they felt intense pain all over their bodies. It was as if every nerve was being pricked. It could be said that they had never suffered such pain in their lives. They screamed in pain. "Are you going to tell us now? Are you going to tell us or not?" The leader of the Drought Ho tribe stared at these humans coldly. "If you don't tell us now, some of you will die in the next beating. Think about it carefully. Is your life more important, or Xiaoping's?" Its tone was full of threat, forcing these humans to tell the truth and stop sheltering Xiaoping. "Sir, please don't beat us. If you continue, you'll really die. We really don't know where that bastard is. In fact, we're also looking for that *TCH's whereabouts. If we know, we won't hesitate to tell you." That's right. To be honest, we're not afraid of exposing our dirty linen. In fact, we have a grudge against that bastard. We don't have any contact with him. He won't tell us his whereabouts. That's right. Even if you beat us to death, it's useless. If you don't know, then you don't know. Wu Quan and the others wailed. They regretted it so much that their intestines turned green. If they had known this would happen, they wouldn't have abandoned Xiaoping and the others and escaped. It would have been better if they had stayed and fought against those monsters together. That way, they might not have fallen into the hands of these monsters and suffered so much. But it was too late to say anything now. If they were caught by these monsters, they would probably suffer a fate worse than death. What a tough guy. Even after being beaten up, he is still so stubborn. The captain of the Drought Ho tribe was both shocked and furious. It didn't expect these humans to be so stubborn. Even though they were being tortured, they still kept the secret and refused to divulge any information about their companions. They even lied to its face, saying that there was enmity between them. Bah, if it really believed these humans, it would be the biggest fool in the world. If they really had a grudge against each other, why would they protect each other so much? Even if they were beaten to the brink of death, they were still unwilling to reveal each other's whereabouts. Was this something that people who had a grudge against each other would do? There was no doubt that they had a very good relationship with each other. They had gone through thick and thin together, and that was why they could do such a fearless act. This won't do. If we continue fighting like this, I'm afraid they'll really die. If we really let these humans die, we might even fulfill their wishes and die a martyr's death. I didn't expect these humans to look so weak, but all of them are so courageous and unwilling to surrender. If we weren't enemies, I would really admire them. Admire my ass. The more stubborn they are, the more troublesome it will be for us. If that's the case, how are we going to find the main culprit, the human Xiaoping? The soldiers of the 5 major races discussed. They didn't expect that even after such torture, these humans were still unwilling to reveal Xiaoping's whereabouts. Not a single one of them had surrendered. This was truly amazing. However, they also felt that it was troublesome. If this continued, they wouldn't be able to find Xiaoping's whereabouts. It was useless. Wu Quan and the others were so angry that they wanted to vomit blood. They wanted to surrender and betray Xiaoping. But the problem was that no one believed their words. Instead, they were beaten up. Was there anyone more unlucky than them in this world? What should we do? We can't even pry out Xiaoping's whereabouts from these humans. Are we just doing useless work? The captain of the Drought Ho tribe frowned. He was extremely frustrated. That human was clearly just a fly that could be swatted to death at any time. However, because they couldn't find his whereabouts, he was still alive and kicking, causing trouble everywhere. It might not be useless work. The captain's blue eyes flashed. Since the relationship between the two sides is so good, we can use these humans as bait to lure the snake out of its hole. I believe that Brat knows that his comrades are in danger and will definitely help them. This way, we can use these humans as bait and set up a trap to catch them all in one fell swoop. He revealed his plan. Not bad, not bad. This plan isn't bad. Hearing this, the captain's eyes lit up. As long as that bastard has a conscience, he won't leave us in the lurch. However, As long as he dares to appear, that will be the day he dies. No one will be able to save him. He seemed to see Xia Ping appearing in front of him, kowtowing and begging for mercy. However, he didn't care. He was cold and merciless. Instead, he pressed this damned human to the ground and beat him up. He humiliated him wantonly and took revenge for his dead comrades. As expected of the captain of the machinery race. He's really cunning. I feel afraid just hearing this plan. Doesn't that mean that the human is dead for sure? Without a doubt, this is an overt plot. The human has no choice but to be forced out. As long as he dares to come out, he won't be able to escape no matter what. Haha, I can almost see that kid in a dilemma. After capturing that human, don't kill him first. Beat him up for an hour. That's not all. We have to capture him and drag him to the graves of our dead comrades. We have to kowtow 3,000 times and break one of his legs for every one of them. The elite soldiers of the 5 races were all feeling smug. They felt that the human, Xia Ping, was already a turtle in a jar. There was no way he could escape from their clutches. It's useless. This plan is completely useless. Wu Quan and the rest were shouting in their hearts. Previously, they had left Xia Ping and company in the lurch. They had even used them as shields to escape. They had already formed a mortal feud with them. That bastard knew that they were unlucky and had been captured by the demons. He couldn't wait to gloat over their misfortune. Why would he risk his life to rescue them? That was not something he could even dream of. However, they didn't dare to say such a thing. Otherwise, they wouldn't even have the value of luring Xia Ping out. When that happened, they would probably be dead for sure. They would be disposed of like trash by the demons. Chapter 993. Another day passed. Many elders of the 5 major races appeared in the temporary headquarters of the 5 major races. They were having lunch, chatting casually, and bonding. Report. Suddenly, a scout ran in, panting. What's the matter? The drought demon tribe's elder frowned. If it wasn't something important, this scout wouldn't have been so rude and rushed in so anxiously. The scout took a deep breath and shouted, reporting to the elders, "We have found traces of the human Xia Ping." What? Hearing this, the elders of the 5 major races all stood up and stared at the scout. Speak, where is that human Xia Ping? Where did you find him? They were instantly overjoyed. After searching for that human for so long, they finally found traces of that bastard Xia Ping. At least their efforts these past few days weren't wasted. He's right outside our base. The scout had a strange expression. The Blackwood race elder was dumbfounded. That human is right outside our base? What do you mean by that? Could it be that that brat knows that he can't hide, so he walked right into our trap? The eyes of the mechanical race elder flashed. He was also extremely confused about this matter. Facing the search of the 5 major races, not only did that brat not run or hide, but he actually dared to appear in front of them so brazenly. He was practically courting death. Impossible. That human is extremely cruel. If he was really afraid of the 5 major races, he wouldn't dare to attack our brethren. Is he plotting something? The rock giant elder said in a low voice. He felt that he should stay vigilant, or else he might very well fall into that treacherous human's trap. The other elders couldn't help but nod. They remembered that they had been searching everywhere for their missing brethren. In the end, with the mechanical race's ability to sense each other, they finally found a cave. Many of their brethren had been tied up by Xia Ping there. However, they didn't expect that bastard human to actually bury a large number of nuclear bombs in the cave. They instantly blew up the entire cave, and a shockwave spread over a dozen kilometers. The soldiers of the 5 major races who went to rescue them were also killed. Thousands of them died, and the losses were heavy. It was precisely because of this that they simply hated Xia Ping to the bone, and they swore to kill this bastard human and take revenge for their brothers that had died for no reason. The scout replied, "The reason why he came personally this time is because he wants to save his fellow humans. So he hopes to negotiate with us and return the human captives to him." It revealed the purpose of Xia Ping's visit. Bullshit. The drought demon elder immediately cursed. What arrogance. He wants us to return the human captives to him? Who does he think he is? Just a few words, and we have to obey and obediently return the captives. It was extremely unhappy, feeling that Xia Ping was too arrogant, not putting them in his eyes at all. Where's that human? A cold light flashed in the eyes of the Blackwood race elder. I think we should go out immediately, capture him, and torture him. Its body was filled with an intense, killing intent. In terms of their hatred towards Xia Ping, the Blackwood tribe's hatred towards this bastard was undoubtedly the deepest because the Blackwood tribe had lost the most of their brothers. That's right. What's the point of negotiating? Kill our way out immediately and kill him. He wants to negotiate with us? Does he have a right to do so? An ant wants to be on equal footing with an elephant? He's really blinded by lard, and he can't even see his own capabilities. The group of elders gritted their teeth, wanting to kill their way out and chop this brat into pieces. Elder, the scout hesitated for a moment, then said, that human doesn't seem to have come alone. He seems to have brought a large number of helpers behind him. There's so many of them, and their numbers are astonishing. What? The elders were shocked. This brat didn't come alone. However, thinking about it carefully, this was very normal. After all, this was their temporary encampment, and there were over 10,000 soldiers here. No matter how courageous this brat was, he wouldn't dare to barge into the tiger's den alone. Let's go out and take a look. The Drought Demon Tribe elder said in a low voice. It wanted to know what this human wanted to do by coming here. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Immediately, all the elders in the encampment moved out, and a large number of soldiers followed behind them. Soon, they arrived at the entrance of the encampment. Elites gathered, and murderous intent filled the air. And outside the encampment's entrance, several hundred meters away, stood 5 to 6 figures, and one of them was Xia Ping. As for the others, they were Tu Ling Long, the Green Wan, the Crow of Misfortune, and the other monsters, as well as the 3 great human grandmasters. They all stood behind Xia Ping to boost his prestige. As expected, the human Xia Ping is here. I'll go and kill him now. Seeing Xia Ping's appearance, the Blackwood tribe elder's eyes turned red. He couldn't suppress the killing intent in his chest, and he immediately wanted to attack. However, before he could do anything, he was stopped by the Machine Tribe elder beside him. The other party said in a low voice, "Don't be rash. Do you see the surrounding mountains? There are people lying in ambush everywhere." Many elders looked over, and they immediately discovered that in the dense forest, there were constantly moving plants and tree branches swaying. Their auras were chaotic, and they were all in a state of panic. Vaguely, there were many people lying in ambush behind the trees. There seemed to be a lot of people, at least 10,000. They were just waiting for Xia Ping's order to attack in an instant. Instantly, the Blackwood race's elder shivered, and his hair stood on end. If he had foolishly gone out just now, he would have fallen into an ambush and would have been instantly sliced into dozens of pieces. He wouldn't even know how he died. Despicable humans. There's actually an ambush. The Blackwood race elder cursed. He was sweating profusely and looked gratefully at the machine race elder. Otherwise, if the mechanical race elder grabbed onto it, it would be dead for sure. The rock giant elder, however, was puzzled. Strange. How did this human find so many helpers? It looks like there are tens of thousands of soldiers. Didn't they say that the number of participants was limited? According to the ancient rules, there were very few demons that participated in the trials each time. All of them were elites. After all, the number of 5 elemental spirit fruits was limited. They could not let all the elite demons of the demon race enter to their deaths. That would destroy the future hope of the demon race. Therefore, no matter what, there shouldn't be tens of thousands of people entering. The ancient era is the ancient era. Who knows what happened to the demon race? In the past, there definitely wouldn't be any humans entering, but now, there are actually humans entering. This is quite strange. The Machine Tribe elder said in a low voice, those humans rely on their numbers to send a large number of people in to participate in the trials. This isn't strange. In any case, we have to be careful and not fall in the trap of those treacherous people. Chapter 994. At this moment, outside the camp, in the depths of the jungle, a group of monsters was holding a lot of branches in their hands. They kept shaking them, making it seem as if they had a large number of hands to confuse the elites of the 5 races. Brother, can we really make those bastards think that we have a large number of helpers? Will they see through us and attack us? Then we'll be finished, Metal Tiger said with a guilty conscience. Metal Tiger said with a guilty conscience. It always felt that this plan was a bit unreliable. Could it really fool the aliens of the 5 major races? Don't worry. With the intelligence of those aliens, they will definitely not find out the trick. They will definitely think that we have a large number of troops and ambush around. I don't think they dare to come over. Xiaoping was full of confidence. This was a strategy that had been verified by history. It was definitely a first-class strategy. Unless the other party was a fool and attacked without saying a word. Otherwise, any cautious commander would not act rashly before they had a clear understanding of the situation. What should we do if those aliens really come over? Metal Tiger still felt a little unreliable, thinking that it was too insecure. Xiaoping said disdainfully, "What else can we do? Of course, we'll run away. Are we going to wait for death here?" Metal Tiger and the other monsters all blushed. What he said was very reasonable. There were tens of thousands of troops on the other side. If they really attacked, they would not be able to resist. If they collided with them, they would probably be surrounded and killed. Moreover, it was easy for them to escape. Anyway, there were mountains everywhere, and they were far away from the other side. If they wanted to escape, it was estimated that the group of aliens would not be able to catch up. It could be said that this was a perfect plan. Even if they were seen through, they would not be in any danger. Xiaoping even ambushed a lot of nuclear bombs on the way to escape. If they dared to chase after him, he would immediately detonate them and blow them up. Anyway, he had prepared both ways. Even if he could not scare the other party, he could easily escape. But at present, it seemed that this group of aliens did not dare to act rashly. They should be temporarily frightened. Brother, the group of aliens is coming out. Crow of Misfortune's eyes were very sharp. He immediately saw dense figures appearing at the camp gate. They were the elders of the group of aliens. Each of them had a strong aura and had reached the peak of the supreme power realm. Let's go and meet them. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back and approached the group of alien elders. The Crows of Misfortune and the other demons were alarmed, but when they saw Xiaoping step forward, they had no choice but to follow and bolster Xiaoping's reputation. Although he was scared to death in his heart, he still looked calm on the surface. "Human, what are you doing here?" The machine race's elder roared. Although it hated Xiaoping to death, it still felt that it shouldn't act rashly before figuring out the other party's motives. The elders of the other races also had the same thoughts. This bastard human clearly knew that he was at a disadvantage, yet he still dared to come here personally. This was a little unusual. They didn't dare to believe that there was no conspiracy behind this. Therefore, all of them were very careful, afraid of falling into Xiaoping's trap. "You're still asking me what I'm doing here? Didn't I tell you trash before? Hand over my good friend immediately. Otherwise, I'll give the order to flatten all 5 of your clans." Xiaoping looked down from above, his tone extremely arrogant, as if annihilating these 5 races was nothing difficult. "Good friend." Hearing this, the 3 human grandmasters had strange expressions. This kid even had the intention to kill Wu Quan and the others. The 2 sides were absolutely irreconcilable. So how could they be good friends? He was clearly lying through his teeth. However, this group of aliens didn't know that Xiaoping, Wu Quan, and the others were up to no good. They were purely enraged by Xiaoping's arrogant attitude. Their hearts erupted like a volcano, bursting with anger. This bastard had come here to beg them to return the captives, but what was going on now? He looked down on them like an emperor, ordering them around as if they were his subordinates, arrogant and insufferably arrogant. They had never seen such an arrogant and despotic person. Who would return a captive like this? Did he really think he was the boss? Those humans are our captives. Who do you think you're to hand them over just because you said so? You still dare to flatten our 5 clans? Are you King crazy? Do you think your life is too long? If you want us to return these human captives, we can. If you immediately commit suicide to atone for your crimes, we'll return them to you. That's right. If you don't commit suicide to atone for your crimes, you want us to return your human friends? Dream on. The group of alien elders cursed, their faces gloomy. All of them wanted to rush up and beat Xiaoping up. They even wanted to dismember him and chop him into meat paste. However, looking at the forest in the distance, the swaying branches, and the ambush from all sides, they felt a little afraid. They stopped in their tracks, afraid that thousands of thugs would come out of the dark forest and hack them to death. You guys have nothing to talk about. Do you want blood to flow like a river? Xiaoping's tone was very unyielding, as if he was going to command the army to flatten the camps of the 5 clans if there was a disagreement. River your ass. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Come over if you have the guts. Let's see if you can kill us until blood flows like a river. The Drought Demon tribe elder shouted, looking like he was in a bad temper. I won't come over. Come over if you have the guts. If I don't kill you in 3 moves, consider it my loss. Xiaoping provoked, trying to goad it into action. The Drought Demon tribe's elder was infuriated. It wanted to go over, but it was held back by the surrounding elders. They signaled with their eyes not to fall for this treacherous villain's provocation. This bastard had obviously set up an ambush in the forest and was just waiting for it to go to its death. Human, don't be arrogant. Do you believe that I won't kill all your human friends? Don't forget, they are my hands. Try and touch them if you dare. The Drought Demon tribe elder gritted its teeth. It remembered that it still had captives in its hands, so this brat had to be cautious. Do you think that you can still live without captives? This camp has long been flattened by my army. I guarantee that not even a hair will be left, Xiaoping said in disdain. Remember, these are all my good friends of many years. They grew up wearing the same pair of pants. You must provide them with good food and drinks and serve them like lords. If they lose even a hair, I'll hold you responsible. He stood with his hands behind his back, ordering people around. He completely regarded himself as the boss of these aliens. Bastard! The elders of the 5 clans were so angry that smoke was coming out of their nostrils. They felt like their lungs were about to explode. This bastard human was really getting more and more excited as he spoke. The more he spoke, the more he thought of himself. Chapter 995. All right, I won't say too much to you. Xiaoping was a little tired after saying so much. He looked at the elders of the 5 major races and said, in short, we came here today to greet us, to let you know what's good for you, to let you know what's good for you. Don't think that you can just kill anyone. The consequences are not something you can bear. Understand? I'll give you 3 days to think about it. If you know what it means to submit to circumstances, then obediently release the captives. That way, you won't have to suffer huge losses. Otherwise, you'll soon know what it means to be in big trouble. After saying that, he turned around and left without looking back. The Crow of Misfortune and the other monsters also turned around and left. This bastard, the Drought Demon race's elder, was fuming with anger. It could be said that it had never suffered such humiliation in its life. What kind of human was this? He was even more arrogant than the 5 races. He acted like he was the leader of his race and treated them like slaves, beating and scolding them whenever he wanted. He was so arrogant. Should we go up and kill him? The Blackwood race's elder's eyes flashed with killing intent. It wanted to use this chance to stab the human and end this trouble. Don't be rash, the Machine race's elder said cautiously. Although I'm not convinced that this human is so arrogant, think about it carefully. Since he's so fearless, does he have something to rely on? Or maybe he's doing this on purpose to infuriate us. His goal is to attract us to attack him so that we'll unknowingly fall into his trap and die. It still felt that this human wasn't simple. Maybe there was a huge conspiracy waiting for them. A strong sense of danger warned them not to act rashly. Otherwise, they would really be finished. This human is lucky. The Blackwood race's elder gritted its teeth. It was so angry that its body was trembling. But it also understood that without knowing the human's background, it would be very dangerous to go up. No one knew what the human had up his sleeves. They could only watch as Xiaoping and the others left. A few minutes later, Xiaoping and the others disappeared in front of the 5 races' elders. However, they still didn't move. Whoosh! All of a sudden, the slime elder's eyes flashed, and he said in a deep voice, Everyone, my tribe scouts around the camp have reported that a monster has infiltrated our camp. It seems to be a shadow fiend. What? The elders present were all shocked. They didn't expect such an accident to happen. They also knew how powerful the slime race was. Slime was like a blob of liquid that could transform into all kinds of shapes and even change the color of its body to blend into its surroundings. It could be said to be the best spy in the world. As long as the slime lay on the wall and became one with it, it would be able to conceal its presence. In this way, no one would be able to discover the slime's whereabouts. This way, they could easily explore a lot of secret information. The human really is plotting something. Capture that spy and tear him to pieces. The rock giant elder's killing intense sword. He wanted to capture the spy immediately. Don't worry. The mechanical elder's mechanical eyes shone with a deep blue light. He seemed to be calculating something. What's the use of capturing that spy now? Let's see what exactly that fellow wants to do and what tricks he has up his sleeves. Maybe we can find out the human's true purpose. It decided not to kill the spy for now. It let the spy enter its camp and wander around as it wished. It wanted to know what the human's purpose was in sending the shadow devil into its camp. The other elders nodded as well. They felt that it made sense. They immediately returned to their headquarters and pretended that nothing had happened. However, they ordered the slime to monitor the shadow devil that had infiltrated the camp. At this moment, in the room where the human captives were, Wu Quan and the others were lying on the ground on their last breaths. They were all circulating their astral energy to heal their injuries so that they could barely recover some strength. Who's there? Suddenly, Wu Quan and the others opened their eyes. They felt a fluctuation in the air outside the door. It contained a trace of killing intent, causing their hair to stand on end. Although they were unlucky enough to be captured by this group of aliens, it didn't mean that they were rookies. All of them were battle-hardened and experienced. It was only because there were too many aliens that they were outnumbered. Whoosh! Immediately, the shadows on the ground gathered and slowly formed a figure. It was a shadow devil. It appeared in front of Wu Quan and the other human grandmasters. Shadow devil. Wu Quan and the others narrowed their eyes. They didn't expect that there would be a shadow devil in the camp of the captives. It should be known that this was the camp of the 5 major clans. It was heavily guarded and not so easy to enter. Most importantly, they had a blood feud with the Wanyao Mountain. What did this shadow devil want to do here? Did it have some other malicious purpose? Immediately, they became vigilant. All their nerves were in the background. Don't be nervous, the shadow devil said. I didn't come here to kill you. I came here with Master Xia's order. I wanted to tell you a piece of news. Master Xia? Is it Xia Ping? Wu Quan immediately thought of Xia Ping's name. That's right. The shadow devil nodded. Wu Quan and the others had strange expressions. They all wondered if there was something wrong with their ears. Xia Ping was a human and had a blood feud with the Wanyao Mountain. How could this guy be so respectful to Xia Ping? Was there a hole in his head? Or was it that Xia Ping, the B*TCH, had surrendered to the Wanyao Mountain and become a traitor? That was why he had gained the Shadow Devil's loyalty. Why would you work for Xia Ping? Someone asked curiously. Working my ass. The Shadow Devil gnashed its teeth. If that B*TCH hadn't installed a fireball bomb in its body and could detonate it at any time, threatening it with its life, how could it have surrendered and obediently worked for this human? However, this kind of thing was too embarrassing to say, so they didn't want to say it. Thinking of this, the Shadow Devil was too lazy to care about the various speculations of this group of human grandmasters. It said straightforwardly, I won't say much nonsense. After all, time is limited. I only have one purpose for coming here, and that is to save you. Save them. Immediately, Wu Quan and the others were not happy. Instead, they were full of doubts. Let's not talk about whether the Shadow Devil would be so kind. Just look at that B*TCH Xia Ping. Would that B*TCH be so kind? Chapter 996. The Shadow Devil also saw the doubts of these human masters. He coughed and said, I know what you're suspecting, but Master Xia told me that if he wants to kill you, he doesn't need to do anything at all. He just needs to watch you die, and he doesn't need to set up a trap. This is just taking off his pants and farting." His words were vulgar and straightforward. However, Wu Quan and the others enjoyed it. It was indeed so. As long as Xiaoping remained indifferent and ignored the threats of the aliens, they would be dead meat. Would he still need to spend so much effort to plot against them? Even so, they still felt a little uneasy. After all, this was the scourge Xiaoping. Few of them would believe that there was nothing fishy about it. Of course, this is the camp of the 5 major races after all. The security is tight. It is very unrealistic for me to rescue you all by myself. The Shadow Devil ignored the thoughts of these human masters and continued. So Master Xia came up with a plan. In 3 days' time, he will attack the temporary camp of the 5 major races and kill all the aliens. Blood will flow like a river. Maybe you don't know yet, but Master Xia deliberately reached an agreement with these aliens. He said he would give them 3 days to think about it, but in fact, it was to numb them. When the time is up, we will press on with our army and flatten this camp. We will catch them off guard. And when the time comes, you will fight your way out. You will work together from the inside and outside to kill all the aliens and take revenge. The Shadow Devil revealed the overall plan. What? The faces of the elders of the 5 major races who were monitoring Wu Quan and the other captive changed. They were very gloomy. They did not expect the human Xiaoping to have such an extremely evil plan. Despicable. The elder of the Drought Demon tribe cursed. I was wondering why that bastard would be so kind. He even said that he would give us 3 days to think about it. Turns out that he was just trying to lower our guard and launch an attack 3 days later. How despicable and shameless. It was shocked and angry. If they had not monitored the situation of the captives and received this information, they would have been kept in the dark and foolishly waited for the negotiation in 3 days. At that time, they would have been unprepared. Although they might not have been completely wiped out, they would have suffered heavy losses. Isn't that bastard afraid that we'll kill these captives? The rock giant elder gnashed his teeth. The Blackwood race's elder gritted his teeth and said, "Of course that bastard human isn't afraid. He has already calculated everything. If we want to negotiate with that Xiaoping, we can't lose those captives. So, how could he be afraid?" Many elders nodded. To a certain extent, this group of human captives was already under their protection. Before they achieved their goal, they would not die. It could be said that they were incomparably safe. You want to destroy us in 3 days. Let's go and annihilate that bastard right now and see exactly what kind of ability he has. The Drought Devil Clan's elders spoke in a cold voice and surged with killing intent. The Machinery Race elder waved his hand. "Don't be anxious. Let's listen to what this spy has to say first." At this moment, Wu Quan and the others were not as happy as the elders of the 5 major races thought they would be. All of them were puzzled as they asked, "An army approaching? What right do you have to suppress us with your army? Don't you know that this is the encampment of the 5 major races? Don't you know that there are over 10,000 troops here? Could it be that you're here to throw your lives away?" They felt that the Shadow Fiend was joking. You don't have to worry about that. The Shadow Fiend did not explain much about this matter. Anyway, we have the power to deal with this group of aliens. I will come again 3 days later at night. At that time, I will release you all and coordinate with Lord Xia from the inside. I believe that with you all stirring up trouble from the inside, that group of aliens will definitely be caught off guard. After saying these words, it turned around and left, quickly disappearing from the prison cell. Wu Quan looked at the people around him and was the first to ask, "What do you all think about this matter?" Someone said straightforwardly, "I remain skeptical about this matter." That's right. That's that be asterisk TCH Xia. How could he do something so strenuous and unrewarding? He even sent an army to rescue us. What a joke. He has wanted us to die for a very long time. Also, how did that army come about? Did it appear out of thin air? That's not how you scare people. Do you think we're stupid? But now, we have no choice but to believe it. At the very least, we have to pretend to believe it. After all, that brat is our only chance to survive. Many of the human grandmasters looked at each other helplessly. Even if they did not believe in Xiaoping's character, he was their last hope at the moment. Dong. At this moment, the door to the prison cell was kicked open. A group of race elders immediately barged in. Their faces were gloomy as they stared at Wu Quan and the others. "Speak. Why aren't you speaking? You seem to be having a good time talking to that spy just now." The drought demon elder sneered. "You even want to flatten the camp of our 5 major races in 3 days and work together from the inside. You actually have such thoughts. You're all blinded by lard. Do you know how to write the word death?" Its murderous aura was almost tangible. Hearing these words, Wu Quan and the others' faces turned green. How could they have imagined that their conversation with the demon race spy would be overheard by this group of aliens? They were practically caught red-handed. They were all cursing in their hearts. That bastard shadow demon was not reliable at all. How was it trying to save them? It was clearly trying to kill them. How could there be such a spy who could be so easily discovered? This was too ridiculous. If that shadow demon was still here, they would want to strangle this unreliable demon with their own hands. Lord, it's not what you think. In fact, it's a demon that came here to sow discord. We don't know it at all. We've just met. LV Shan hurriedly distanced himself from the shadow demon. Bang! The drought demon elder rushed forward and immediately gave Lu Shan a punch, causing his left eye to swell up. He cursed, "Pick your ass. Do you really think we're idiots? Do you think we'll believe you just because you said a few words? You're chatting in full swing. You want to burn yellow paper and chop a yellow chicken to swear an oath of allegiance. You even said it's your first time meeting us. You don't even need to draft a lie." It couldn't take it anymore and punched LV Shan's right eye again. This time, it was symmetrical and turned into a panda eye. LV Shan fell to the ground, clutching his head and screaming. He was extremely sullen. This was an undeserved calamity. Go up and beat up this group of humans. They still want to work together from the inside and annihilate us. Let's see if they still dare to work together after we beat them half to death. Elder, the human Xiaoping asked us to provide for them with good food and drinks. Otherwise, the consequences will be dire. Provide for your mother. Xiaoping is your father. Whatever he says goes. Go up immediately and beat them half to death. That's right. Damn it. Xiaoping was so angry just now that smoke almost came out of my 7 orifices. Let's beat up this group of human captives for half an hour to vent the anger in our hearts. Chapter 997. Half an hour later, LV Shan and the others were beaten to a pulp and fell to the ground, barely breathing. They no longer had the strength to say a word and were extremely miserable. Even if their relatives came here, they probably wouldn't be able to see what they originally looked like. Xiaoping, LV Shan, and the others gritted their teeth. These words were almost squeezed out from the gaps between their teeth. They finally understood that if it wasn't for that bastard Xiaoping's big mouth, this wouldn't have happened. That bastard didn't want to save them. He simply wanted to kill them. Although they didn't know what that bastard Xiaoping was planning, there was no doubt that it was definitely not beneficial to them. However, it was useless even if they said anything now. They would be treated as lies by the humans. Even if they wanted to expose it, not many aliens would believe them. Moreover, they were also beaten to the point of death. They couldn't say anything even if they wanted to. At this moment, after beating up this group of human captives, the elders of the 5 major races were in a much better mood. They felt that the anger they suffered from Xiaoping could finally be vented on this group of captives. What do we do now? Should we kill this group of human captives? Otherwise, if this group of human captives really works together in 3 days' time, I'm afraid we'll suffer heavy losses. The drought demon race elder was very murderous. Please don't. The machinery race elder shook his head. What's the use of killing them now? They're just captives without the strength to truss a chicken. Killing them will only alert the enemy and raise the vigilance of that human. In fact, if they want to plot against us, why can't we plot against them? Its eyes flickered, revealing a trace of treachery. What do you mean? The rock giant elder and the other aliens looked at the machinery race elder. The machinery race elder sneered. If they want to attack our camp in 3 days, let them attack. However, we can set up a huge trap and wait for them to come in obediently. Now, we should return to the tribe and gather a large number of elites to ambush here. Think about it. They originally thought that we only had 10,000 people, but after killing our way in, they realized that there were tens of thousands of people. I'm afraid that group of human bastards will be scared to death. Hearing this, the other elders laughed sinisterly. They immediately felt happy. That human thought that his evil plan had succeeded, but who knew that they would beat him at his own game. When that group of humans and demons killed their way into the camp, they would probably be scared to the point of wetting their pants when they saw their numbers. Not bad. This is a good plan. As expected of the strategist and think tank of our 5 species. Let's do it this way. Kill the human. You want to destroy the encampment of our 5 great races? You're simply courting death. We'll just wait for those humans to come knocking on our door and throw away their lives. The elders of the various races were filled with murderous intent. They had decided to mobilize their troops, mobilizing a large number of the tribe's elites to ambush this place, waiting for Xiaoping to walk into the trap. Of course, the movements of the 5 clans in deploying their troops could not be hidden from Xiaoping and the others. Although they thought that they were very secretive, how could such a large-scale deployment of troops not be leaked? Big brother, just as you expected, the elders of the 5 major races have really mobilized the elites of their tribes. The Crow of Misfortune hid in midair and discovered the actions of the aliens. It immediately returned to report, its tone very excited. After these days of exploration, their efforts were not in vain. They carried out anti-reconnaissance on these aliens and finally found the headquarters of the 5 major races. They found that the 5 major races actually lived together, forming a huge tribal city. It was very prosperous, but the security was so tight that even a fly could not get in. Very good. Xiaoping touched his chin. We'll wait for these alien elites to come out. This way, when we go to the tribal headquarters, there will not be many guards, and the interior of the aliens' nest will be empty. When that time comes, we can attack and seize the 5-element spirit fruit. Wouldn't that be easy? His real purpose was not to save Wu Quan and the others, but to use these people as a pretense to lure the tigers away from the mountains and mobilize more than half of the alien guards in the tribe. In this way, they could sneak into the headquarters of the 5 major races. Without a large number of guards, the encampment of the 5 major races would be like a naked beauty that could be admired at will. I didn't expect that group of aliens to really fall for it. Tu Linglong was very speechless. The group of aliens was simply fooled by Xiaoping. They probably didn't even know what had happened before their own nest was wiped out. If the group of aliens knew about this, they would probably fly into a rage and be so angry that their lungs would explode. Of course, the group of human captives would undoubtedly be extremely unlucky, and they would be torn to pieces by the furious aliens. However, these bad humans wouldn't care. In any case, there was enmity between the 2 sides, and they had long regarded each other as pawns that could be used. If we can get the 5-element spirit fruit, we can advance to the king realm. Qing Wan clenched her pink fist. They came into the secret realm this time for the sake of getting the 5-element spirit fruit. As for the method to obtain the 5-element spirit fruit, no one cared at all. All they wanted was the result. If they didn't get it, they would probably die of old age in this secret realm for the rest of their lives, and they might even die under the pursuit of the 5 major races. The eyes of the other monsters flickered. The reason why they did their best to help Xiaoping was not only because they were threatened by Xiaoping, but also because they found hope to get the 5-element spirit fruit. If it weren't for Xiaoping, they might only be able to look at the city and sigh helplessly. In short, don't leave any traces these days. Maintain an offensive posture and confuse these aliens. Let them think that we are really going to attack their temporary camp. Xiaoping said with a smile. In the evening 3 days later, when all their elites come out, we will kill our way to the headquarters of this group of aliens and completely get the 5-element spirit fruit. His heart was surging with excitement. He had finally come to the last step. If he could get the 5-element spirit fruit, then this trip to the secret realm would be completely successful. Moreover, once he could advance to the king realm, it would be a meteoric rise. Even in the universe, he would have a trace of the ability to gain a foothold. At least, he could be regarded as cannon fodder. The three old human grandmasters also clenched their fists. They had lived for hundreds of years and had been trapped in the bottleneck of the Grandmaster Peak. Now that they had finally seen a trace of hope to break through, they would never give up. Yes, big brother. The surrounding monsters all nodded. They also knew that this matter was very important. If there was a trace of mistake, their many days of effort might be considered wasted. Chapter 998. 3 days later, it was a dark and windy night. It was very quiet in the temporary camp of the 5 major races. Many elite soldiers were lying in ambush in the dark, suppressing their breaths. The atmosphere was filled with killing intent. At this moment, in the headquarters of the camp, all the elders were gathered together. Their expressions were very relaxed, not as nervous as the soldiers because they were confident of victory. In order to deal with Xia Ping and the others, they informed their clans and sent a large number of elite soldiers over. It could be said that the elite troops of the 5 major races had gathered here. No matter how many helpers the human had, they would not be a match for the 5 major races. When will that human attack? The drought monkey elder felt that he was a little impatient. He really wanted to see the human's shocked and despairing expression. Don't be anxious. I heard that they will attack at 3 or 4 in the morning. This is the time when we are the most relaxed. The machinery elder revealed a look of planning. This human is really cunning. He knows to choose this time to attack. The rock giant elder sneered. However, he did not expect that we have prepared a big gift for that human. I hope that he will not wet his pants later. He clenched his rock-like fists and cracked them. Soon, it will be the death of that human. He has been fooling us for so long. Tonight will be the end of it. The Blackwood Elder was filled with killing intent. He had waited long enough to kill that human. Even though he was a very patient creature, he could not stand this brat jumping around. The Slime Elder did not say anything and continued to quietly stand at the side. The elders of the 5 major races were all very excited. They chatted while drinking tea. The atmosphere was very relaxed and joyful. They were waiting for Xia Ping and the others to appear, waiting for this group of humans and demons to walk into the trap. Wu Quan and the other human grandmasters were also quietly waiting in the camp of the captives. Although they were also beaten to the point of death, there was still a trace of hope in their hearts. They hoped that Xia Ping could save them and save them from this abyss of suffering. However, their waiting was probably in vain. Xia Ping and the others had already silently appeared in the city of the 5 major races thousands of miles away. They arrived at the top of a mountain outside the city. So, this is the city of the 5 major races? It's really huge. Xia Ping stood at the top of the mountain and looked down at the city that the 5 races had built together. He saw that the city was surrounded by a huge wall that was hundreds of meters tall and incomparably thick. Even if a missile were to hit the city wall, it would not be damaged at all. This was all the work of the rock giants. Although there were no enemies in this secret realm, they instinctively built an extremely huge wall. It was like a giant dragon entrenched on the ground, stretching for more than 10 kilometers. We've already investigated this city. Although the 5 major races live in the same city, the fact is that the city is divided into 5 major regions. Qing Wan said solemnly. Xia Ping also nodded. Even though it was nighttime, with the power of the Golden Crow's eye, it was as bright as day. He could clearly see the layout of the city. This city was divided into 5 major regions. One region was filled with hundreds of volcanoes. These volcanoes gathered together as if forming a tribe. Densely packed houses were built on top of the volcanoes. This was probably the territory of the Drought Devil race. One region was a huge lake that stretched as far as the eye could see. It seemed that many slimes lived in the depths of the lake. Countless houses were built under the lake. Next to the lake was another region. It was a huge forest, lush and green. Countless ancient trees grew on the land. However, the atmosphere of this forest was very strange. The sky was filled with a dark aura. The soil on the ground was black, like a swamp. This was probably the territory of the Blackwood race. There was also a huge region near the city wall. It was surrounded by stone mountains. Not even a blade of grass grew there. There were also many stone houses built there. Many rock giants came and went. The remaining region was the territory of the mechanical race. This territory was very shocking. It was unknown where they dug out a lot of metal from and built a large number of metal houses. It looked very sci-fi. The entire territory was filled with metal chi. It was not suitable for humans to live in. It was as if the air here was filled with the smell of metal. If one stayed here for a long time, their body would turn into metal. Unfortunately, the technology of their race had long been broken. Or rather, it was completely destroyed by the ancient demon race. Therefore, their technology was still in the feudal era. They could only create cold weapons. But where are the 5 elements spirit fruits? Xiaoping was only concerned about this. The green phoenix pointed to the front. There, in the center of the 5 regions, there are 5 divine trees. They are magical plants that all 5 races worship together. The 5 elements spirit fruits grow on these divine trees. In the center of the 5 regions, there was a vast empty space. There were 5 divine trees that were 100 meters tall. They emitted a 5-colored light that intertwined with each other. They were planted in different positions, forming a 5 elements formation. The energy of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth were emitted. They fused with each other and resonated with heaven and earth. It was as if there was a huge energy barrier enveloping this region. It was like a holy land, not allowing anyone to enter. Amazing. Are these 5 divine trees the trees that grow the 5 elements spirit fruits? I wonder if they can be uprooted? Xiaoping touched his chin and revealed a dangerous light. Uprooted? The green phoenix looked at Xiaoping speechlessly. This bastard was simply a bandit. He wanted to snatch anything good he saw. Previously, the home of the Shark Demon King was completely emptied by this bastard. It was said that there was also a spirit tree there, but it was also uprooted by this bastard. It was like plucking the feathers of a goose. You are simply a Tao Tai. Tu Linglong glowered at Xiaoping. What's the point of uprooting them? Only the beings of the 5 major races can nurture these 5 divine trees. Even if others uproot them, they'll only be able to obtain an ordinary tree that will quickly wither, so it's not worth it. If the 5 element spirit trees could be uprooted, countless races in the universe would want to transplant them and grow the 5 element spirit fruits. However, only the creatures of the 5 races could cultivate the spirit trees. That may not be the case. Xiaoping's eyes flickered. He had a supreme, extraordinary flame like the flame of life. It was said to be able to replenish all life energy and promote the growth of countless spirit herbs. Even the 5 element spirit trees were no exception. If he could transplant these trees and place them in the human world, wouldn't he be able to produce the 5 element spirit fruits in batches and continuously produce king realm cultivators? Chapter 999. Forget it, don't talk about this. Let's think about how to get in. Cyan Luan looked at the bandit angrily. She didn't want to say anything to this human bandit. Anyway, plunder had been integrated into his blood, and no one could stop it. This is a small matter. Now that most of the elite soldiers have left, the inside is very empty. It should be easy for us to get in. Xiaoping touched his chin and felt that this was not a big problem. Cyan Luan waved her hand. Then let's go. Don't waste time here. Otherwise, if we are discovered by those aliens, they may quickly come back to support us. We must finish this quickly. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As soon as she said that, Xiaoping and the others immediately moved. They separated into different directions and landed from the mountain peak. They quickly approached the huge city and came to the vicinity of the hundreds of meters high city wall. The guards around the city wall were all rock giants. They chatted on the city wall and didn't notice the situation around them. This was because this secret realm had been peaceful for a long time and there were no special enemies. It could be said that the monsters of Wanyao Mountain had not come here for training for over 1,000 years. The giant cities of the 5 major races had never been invaded by enemies. Therefore, the guards of the rock giants had long been extremely relaxed. Every day, they would just chat casually as if they were civil servants go to work. It was just a routine job. Plus, The bodies of Xiaoping and the others were too small for the rock giants. They were like flies. Under the cover of the night, it was normal that they couldn't find them. After a few breaths, Xiaoping and the others quickly entered the city while the rock giants weren't paying attention. They were silent, as if they had merged into the night sky. They ran all the way, carefully avoiding the aliens in the city and trying to avoid conflicts. If they could take the 5-element spirit fruit without alerting anyone, that would be the best thing. Just like this, after running for half an hour, Xiaoping and the others finally approached the central area of the huge city. I can't get in. After approaching the central area, Xiaoping immediately found that this area was surrounded by a huge energy shield. It was like an eggshell covering all directions. There was no gap at all. If anyone wanted to pass through this energy shield, they would definitely be discovered by the guards here. I can't find any gap. The green one also circled this place, but she couldn't find any flaws. It seemed that this central area had been set up with a 5-elements array. The 5 energies of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth formed a cycle, condensing into a huge domain, isolating the space outside. Many demons frowned as well. Originally, they wanted to enter silently, but from the looks of it, things were not that simple. The 5 races still valued the protection of this sacred land very much. Even if all the elites were dispatched, this holy land was not a place that ordinary people could enter. There's no other way. Let's just attack. A cold light flashed in Xiaoping's eyes. Since they were already here, it was impossible for them to give up. Moreover, this was also the most vulnerable state of the 5 races. If they missed this opportunity, they might not get another one. All right. Many demons nodded as well. They knew that this was the best solution. Whoosh! After making his decision, Xiaoping immediately arrived at the entrance of the Holy Land. At that moment, the guards at the entrance were still yawning. Because this place had been peaceful for too long, no one dared to invade, and they had long since gotten used to it. Their daily routine was to wait until they got off work. 3 days to dry their nets, 2 days to fish. Who's there? But no matter what, they were all elites selected by the 5 races. Each of them had at least the strength of the supreme power realm, 7th heaven or above. They were extremely sensitive to danger and instantly noticed Xiaoping and the others at the entrance. Damn it, Xiaoping replied casually. My lord died a long time ago. How could he be here? The slime guard replied in a daze. Stupid, this is an intruder. He's a human. A drought demon clan guard shouted. It looked at Xiaoping and the demons behind him in shock, and its hair suddenly stood on end. It knew that these humans definitely did not appear in the Holy Land to treat them to a meal. As the saying went, those with good intentions did not come, and those who came did not come with good intentions. Even if it had never heard of such a saying, it knew that it was similar. Damn it! How could a human appear in this place? This is the human Xiaoping. His portrait has long been all over the city. I can recognize him even if he turns into ashes. It can't be. Shouldn't Xiaoping still be confronting the elders? It is said that he is planning to go to war with a large number of elites. Why did this human come to our holy land now? Yes, it's unreasonable at all. Does he have a doppelganger skill? The guards present were dumbfounded. They still did not know what had happened until now. Their territory had been invaded silently. They had never experienced such a thing. Attack! Xiaoping immediately gave the order to attack these guards while they were in a daze. Whoosh! 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 The 3 human grandmasters, Green Phoenix, 2 Ling Long, Crow of Misfortune, and other demons also did not hesitate. They attacked from all directions and immediately surrounded the group of guards. They did not hesitate and used all their strength. Dong! 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 In an instant, dozens of aliens guarding the entrance of the Holy Land were struck by lightning. They were knocked to the ground, foamed at the mouth, and directly passed out. The ground trembled, and the huge force caused dozens of cracks to appear on the ground. Like lightning, the cracks kept zigzagging and extending into the distance. Clang! 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 However, this invasion was discovered by the guards in the Holy Land. They quickly rang the bell for help. In an instant, The bell resounded through the quiet night sky. The crisp sound of the bell reverberated in every corner of the Holy Land. Immediately, the guards of the 5 major clans who were still around the city woke up one by one. What the hell is going on? Why is the bell for help ringing? This sound hasn't been rung for thousands of years. Why is it ringing now? It's the Holy Land. There's a big problem at the Holy Land. The guards of the Holy Land are calling for help. Damn it. Which thief dares to invade the Holy Land of the 5 major clans? Are they courting death? It must be the humans and those demons. Who else would dare to invade the Holy Land for no reason except them? Hurry up and go to help, or our Holy Land will be finished. The expressions of the guards and elders of the 5 major clans changed drastically. They knew the importance of the Holy Land. They could not afford to lose the 5-element spiritual tree. Once it was destroyed by these invaders, it would be an earth-shattering disaster. However, they were scattered in every corner of the city, and there was still a long way to go from the Holy Land. It would take a certain amount of time to get there.